Hello everyone and welcome to the Hey Listen Video Game Podcast. This is one of your co-hosts, Zach, also known as ZRPG, and today we are not joined by Cole, but we have some kind of replacement for him, even though he was like 50 minutes late, and that is cronolink9.
Yeah, what an asshole. Yeah, it's great to be here. Good to be a little guest host, I guess you could say, on the Hey Listen podcast. Really looking forward to talking with you guys. So we also have a guest too.
Yes.
Another guest as well as a guest host.
We have a guest, and that's Rusty Lewis, also known as relewis2011.
Hello guys, how are you guys doing tonight? How's the food? I think that's what we need to know first. How's the food?
Okay, so I was late because I was getting food because I haven't eaten anything today. But yeah, the food was good. I had this creation called a wheat witch, which is it's a wheat witch. It's a sandwich. It's an invention of the college. Well, actually, I don't know if it is an invention of the college. They just call it a wheat witch. But anyways, it is 2 slices of wheat bread that have been toasted with egg and bacon and cheese in the middle. It is wonderful.
That's something.
It's delicious. Oh, I also had fries too, but those are burned and they were awful. So I don't know how you burn fries, by the way, but yeah. So yeah, it was good. Other than that.
So Rusty, how are you doing, Rusty? You had to cope with this. We were just sitting here in almost silence because we didn't have anything to say because we wanted to say it all on the podcast, and then we were waiting for about 15 minutes.
That's right, we were drowning our sorrows away in silence because we're so depressed that you weren't here with us, Alec.
Man, I'm just, man, I feel I should...
Yes.
Makes you feel
Well
bad.
said. Well said.
But no, I'm doing very well tonight, Zach. Thank you.
Yeah, we've been trying to get Rusty on for like, who knows how long now. But it's like Saturday is pretty much the only day that can work, and then Cole pretty much can't do Saturdays ever. And this was going to be the week where he could, and then all of a sudden he said, oh, never mind, I'm doing stuff this weekend, so...
Yeah, actually, for us, when you contacted me, Zach, I was like, yeah, sure, it worked fine. We're not recording on Saturday this week. We're recording on Sunday. And then, out of the blue, LMG messages us and is like, hey guys, I'm back. Because apparently he's been in India for a little bit.
What?
What?
Yeah. No, he's gonna have to tell us all of that whole story on the podcast eventually.
He just doesn't want to tell anyone. He just runs off to India.
Yeah, he ran off to India for a month, so that's why we haven't seen...
No wonder.
I don't really know all the details of, like, we haven't heard from him very much. We've heard him very sporadically the last couple of months now, and but yeah, so he just kind of messaged us and was like, hey, I'm down for recording this Saturday, and everybody's all kind of like, yeah, we could do it. As I was like, I'm guesting on Hey Listen, so... but as I'm looking at the online list here on Skype, nobody is online. Pegasus isn't online, Bots is not online, LMG's not online, so...
They're like, oh, Chrono can't do it, then nobody can.
I guess. I don't know why they would ever think that, but... But yeah, so... LMG
is gonna be on an episode.
Yeah, it'd be the first time in, like, months. Yeah, it's been a little rough the past couple of months, trying to get everybody together. We're all so busy. But we're going to try to be getting back into a more standard sort of flow, try to get back to the normal podcast format. Let's face it, we haven't had the normal podcast format in like a couple of months. Like, we haven't done our segment. We haven't, like, done segments in a long time. And after this Sunday, we should start trying to get back to that, so.
You're going to have to tell them all about that crossover episode you missed.
Yeah, we will. You have to do his edit of it for iTunes. Yeah.
So today I wanted to start things off by a bit of like forum or community sort of news, like the recent popular things on the forums and stuff like that. I don't know if this will be a regular thing or if I'm just going to do this. But recently, pretty much the most popular thread out there has been the Gentleman's Challenge 5, and all the people here are actually participating in that. And not only are we all participating in that, we all have the same exact game. Which is the game we'll be going in depth on in the main topic. So, yeah, that's been going on. That's how many pages has that gotten?
17, I think, is what we just made it to.
Wow, I thought it was 14, but man, I guess I'm behind.
Everyone's constantly updating progress. It's pretty awesome. I've been fairly successful with that so far.
Yeah, you've completed 2 games.
Yeah. But, I guess we can go into that in a little bit later, but another popular challenge that's been sprouting up that, I know 2 of us are involved in here, and that's the Gentleman's Music Challenge.
Please explain this. I never even looked at the topic, but what is this?
Well, it's basically where Miiverse started it, and it's where everyone will post 3 songs, and then he'll compile a playlist by the end of a certain date, and people can listen to the whole playlist for points, and you get different points according on what you do. If you can describe each song with a sentence or more, and you'll get a certain amount of points for that. And yeah, you can discuss it. You can also talk about albums from songs that were in there, stuff like that.
That's cool.
Yeah. I played it when I was listening to it. I did it over a few days because doing it all at once. I think it was over 3 or 4 hours of music or something like that. So in the first playlist, but I didn't even have headphones on. I had my friends in the room, and we were playing Terraria, I think, and just having the playlist on, and it's really fun. It was really fun just for them too. They kind of would comment on the music, and it's a really great idea. It really helps you sort of maybe expand your horizons a little bit, or just kind of get to know what other people are into for music. So for good or for bad. So
definitely, definitely did for me, because I think I bought 3 of the songs from there, just my 3 favorites, and it's been pretty awesome.
Yeah. Has been quite fun. So
the deadline was apparently yesterday, right?
I think for responding back to the first playlist, or to get points for listening to the first playlist. So yeah, so that's done.
I don't know when he plans on posting about that or anything, but you can always pretty much always jump in at any time, because there's always either a playlist up there you can listen to, or you can be submitting 3 songs to the next one. So
yeah, I might have to join that. That sounds really interesting.
Definitely. And the last thing I thought I would mention, which we haven't, I don't remember how long ago this was, but we haven't discussed this on our podcast yet. I don't know if the users have or not, but Games of War has returned.
That's right. I saw that.
He has, indeed.
Which is pretty great. And I saw there in the thread, people have been pretty warm, a warm reception, which is really nice. That's really good to see. So yeah, great that Josh has come back to the fold, as it were.
Yeah, I'm definitely, because he had one of my favorite channels, just always talking about some of the most unique and unheard of games that I never would have heard of otherwise. And what he did, I think it's not about forgetting what he did, but really kind of just forgiving and kind of moving forward, because we've all, like people have said a million times, we've all made mistakes, things we're not proud to say we've done, and go ahead.
Alec he was dropped, but you can keep going.
Oh, okay. But yeah, I really think, you can't really just forget what he did, because what he did was obviously, I'm not really sure how to describe it, but But yeah, I mean, I think you just have to kind of move on and forgive what he did and enjoy his content for what it is. And I'm really excited. I've already subscribed to his channel, and I'm looking forward to all the content he puts out. So that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, we gotta keep that running joke around. We have like the users and ourselves kind of have. Oh.
Am I? Yeah. Darn it. Stupid Skype. I don't know. Anyways, I just think it's good that it shows that the people we're around, the community we're in is forgiving. People make mistakes. We're only human. And I think it's good that we can sort of just move on from our mistakes and just keep it going. Start over, fresh leaf and all that. So.
Way to jump in the conversation. We just did games we've been playing.
No, you didn't.
What the heck, man?
Lies. I heard Rusty finishing up. So boom.
And I guess you didn't hear me start a sentence.
I guess not.
I said we still got to keep that running joke around, where you want to go to war on Games of War. That's always a good one.
That is. Yeah, it is. It was a really good line.
You can't let it go.
I don't know if we can let it go. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. I never used it, but it was amusing. I like to say the least. So what about that crap we've been doing segment? You want to talk about some YouTube videos we've been watching lately? You'd like to feature?
Let's do it.
Alright, I guess I'll start us off. I have, a lot to mention only because we didn't do it last week when Rachel was on. Just because we wanted to keep that one shorter, and then there's a bunch of really good ones I wanted to mention from that. Both Let's Play and just normal gaming videos from the community. So the first one is Ultimate Chimera Hunt, Episode 8 from Uber Hackstore Nova. Have you guys heard of this game?
No.
No. I have heard of Nova, though.
Yeah, this is really interesting. I've never been able to be much of a PC gamer at all because my PC kind of sucks. But, this game is, seems just right up my alley. Even though I'm not a big fan of the series, it kind of started from the Mother 3 series. It's based off of that. It's got the chimeras from there. It's basically like a hide-and-seek thing. Every match there's a person who plays the chimera, and then the rest are the pigmen. And then the chimera basically has to just bite the pigmen, and then they're out. And they turn into ghosts, and you're able to roam around the map and watch everyone else play. But, and then the way you can defeat the chimera is there's a button on its back, and if you're able to get back there and hit it, then that also moves the pigmen up in ranks. You can become a major and a colonel from doing a certain amount of button presses. Then when you die, it drops you down a rank. So I think it looks like a pretty awesome game, and they did a lot of. That was one of the funniest videos I've seen. Is that Ultimate Chimera Hunt Episode 8? Because they were basically just joking around. They keep saying. There's a theater in one of the levels that was watching it was showing Mother or Earthbound on the TV screen, and they were I'm trying to watch a movie, and they rush everyone into the theater, just sit there, and even when the chimera comes in, someone would try to run up to press the button, they'd try to stop him, and then when they turned into the chimeras themselves, when Nova turned into the chimera, he'd walk in all slowly. He's I just want to watch a movie. Because everyone's running around. So it was really funny though.
That's pretty cool.
And then I also watched Chugga Conroy put Pokemon Coliseum out, which that's been a lot of fun. He always does good Let's Plays. And then the last Let's Play one that I have to mention from last week was I was watching a lot of Ni no Kuni is Awesome from Far From Subtle or Video Games Awesome. Because I don't have a PlayStation 3, and I don't think I'll have one for a while since I only recently got a Wii U. So I figure the only way I'll be able to experience it is through watching it. And I love video games awesome, so I might as well. So that's been pretty entertaining. Obviously seems like an amazing game, but you got all that stuff going on with the pre-order business. Do either of you have Ni no Kuni?
No,
I do not.
No, I don't have a PS3, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish.
Same boat.
I really wish I had kind of gotten the special edition. There was a time where I was really tempted to. During that Nino starter, I was really close to ordering it then, but yeah, I mean, as I don't have a PS3 and seeing as I own 2 3DS games and don't own a 3DS, I'm gonna stop doing. I'm gonna try to be stopping doing that, but I have good reasons for both of them though. So.
Mm-hmm. And then another video, which Rusty and I were just talking about a second ago, and that was Pete Dorr, just titled "It's Coming."
Oh yeah.
That's basically he's revealed that the room tour is going to be out in February. It was done really well. I think that was really well done video with all the comments and everything. Like really build up how epic it is.
Yeah, it's really funny how how he did that. The hype, building up the hype for it.
Yeah.
It's good.
I'm saying it's probably like even more anticipated than the Happy Console Gamer movie. It's this room tour.
I can't imagine how many views it's going to get within the first 24 hours.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because even all the subscribers, I'm sure there are like tons of subscribers that don't watch, and they just subscribe from that one video.
Yeah.
Of the room tour, and then they see that and they'll be like, yes, finally.
HD room tour. I'm gonna guess there will be 35,000 views in the first day.
Oh wow.
That's my guess. It might be a little extreme, but that's about his amount of his subscribers, right?
Oh no,
he's got that. Yeah, he's got 65. Well, okay, so there you go. That's about half of the subscriber base.
Yeah.
I think I think that's generous, and everyone else will see it. We'll see it by the end of the week. As other subscribers, other people, other video links. Maybe I'm grossly overstepping. Maybe I'm grossly understepping. I don't know. That's my guess, though.
I don't know. Because it's not going to have that much of a... It's not going to be that much of a polarizing amount as the first one, like over 500,000, because that was the time when it was a lot more rare to see room tours and bigger room tours, so...
Yeah.
It's not going to go that viral. But also, final Nintendo Power issue was a video Happy Console Gamer made.
I
really I still need to give that a look.
Yeah, I see a lot of Nintendo Power videos popping up.
Yeah.
Especially like a few weeks ago.
Yeah. I got my issue before I came back to school, so I was tempted to keep it wrapped in the casing, but I figured, you know what, this isn't a subscriber's version of it, and as he kind of said that in the thing, he's like, yeah, I have a subscriber's version of this, and what was it he said? He said, and I think that it'll be cropping up for some value, because this is a subscriber's edition, but fuck that. So and then he puts it up, and it's just it was so good. I was like, especially since he didn't do that with it took him a little bit to do that with Pure Solar.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I still need the Nintendo Power issue.
I got mine online, actually. I ordered it off the Nintendo Power website.
Probably what I'm gonna have to do. I kind of want to collect the Nintendo Powers now. Like, I've got a few, like maybe 30, but maybe not even 30, probably 20 at the most. But
I love flipping through old gaming magazines.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really great. I think my favorite issue of Nintendo Power was one of the oldest ones that we have still in our house, and that's the cover issue of the Virtual Boy.
Oh wow.
It's so great, and there's like an in-depth sort of like analysis on Chrono Trigger in it as well. It's such a good issue. So.
And one video I did want to mention was one of yours, Rusty.
Oh really?
And that's that gaming back vlog episode
Yeah.
1.
Yeah, I was not expecting the amount of responses to that. I mean, I don't even know how many video responses. I haven't even watched all of them because there's been so many.
You're taking on such a behemoth of a challenge.
Yeah, and unfortunately, well, I haven't made much headway this week just because maybe I'll get into that in a little bit, but I've had some major issues, to say the very least, this week. It was crazy.
Well, yeah, I wish you luck with that. Even like 2 of those huge RPGs you have on there would be a challenge for a lot of people.
Yeah, Xenoblade and Lost Odyssey. Yeah, we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
Xenoblade took my summer away.
Yeah, I remember you were talking about it for like the whole first half of the users episodes, pretty much.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah.
You're like, yep, play more Xenoblade.
That's pretty much it. Yeah, wonderful game though. It really is.
I definitely want to play that, especially with that new X game coming out from Monolith Soft. It looks awesome.
Indeed.
And that was it for last week, but this week I don't have much, so I don't have like 12 videos. I just said, if you don't know Jack is awesome from Far From Subtle again. This used to be like one of the all-time fan favorites, is You Don't Know Jack, because it's actually surprisingly really awesome game. It's just awesome to see them all buzzing. It's the perfect kind of game for their show, where they're on the couch and everything. You get to see everyone's reactions and all that. Perfect multiplayer game, so that was awesome. And also there's this new channel that popped up from 2 of my favorite Let's Players, and that's Josh Jepson and Attacking Toucans. And it's called just Versus, actually. I'm surprised they got that username, but it's basically, they have these kinds of Let's Plays where they race in games, and a lot of times they'll have specific challenges to do. Like they did a Luigi's Mansion Versus, where one factor was finishing the game first, and then another was getting the most money, and I forget what the last factor was, but they had like all those different things, and they have like different like progress markers on the screen and everything. It's really well done, really well edited too. And with the launch of that, they released Super Mario 64 Versus, which has been really cool, so. Yeah, there's that. What about you guys? Videos? Have you been watching any?
Yeah, I guess I'll go ahead and go.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm basically kind of going through my YouTube history here. One video I wanted to mention, actually, it's a 2-part video, was NES Complex's top 20 N64 games. The N64 is my second favorite console of all time, so it was really interesting to see some of his favorites for the console. And I just love his channel so much. I mean, he speaks with so much passion and enthusiasm in his videos. It's incredibly well edited, and definitely came across in his video for his top 20 N64 games. If you guys haven't seen that, definitely give it a look. It was really enjoyable. And then Metal Jesus' compilation videos. I couldn't agree more with his love for those compilations. I really, really like a lot of those compilations as well. Namco Museum and the Midway Arcade Treasures are some of my favorites. So it was nice to see some kind of recommendations, especially like the Capcom Volume 1 and 2 for the PS2. Like, I couldn't believe some of the games on there, so I definitely want to kind of scout those out. Of course, Steps to Death, her recent pickup video, I always enjoy watching her videos. And then my buddy Mike, Aerodynamish, he had an epic 56-minute pickup video. So I enjoyed that. And then I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with Air Force Shields. He's kind of a lesser-known YouTube video or YouTuber that I enjoy watching as well. He recently put up a pickup video, and then finally X Love and Rage X Mark. He's a huge fan of like Marvel comics and all that good stuff. I enjoy watching his videos too. He had a collection update recently, so I watched that as well.
Yeah, I love his videos.
Yeah, definitely. So that's about it. Been pretty busy this week, actually. If you don't mind, I guess I'll go ahead and share an interesting story.
Sure.
Ooh.
Yeah. Get your popcorn.
All right.
On
fries.
Yes, perfect. On Monday night, I think it was, I came back from the gym. Around 7 o'clock, I got back to my apartment, parked my car. Everything was fine. My car was running smoothly. Woke up the next morning for work. Went out at about 7:30, and I started my car, and it literally sounded like a race car. Like, I didn't know what the heck was going on with my engine, so I was like, I immediately stopped my car because it scared the crap out of me, and I looked, I opened my hood, I checked my oil's fine. I didn't know what was going on, so this guy was getting ready to leave for work, and I was like, hey, can you just check my car to see what might be wrong? And he's like, yeah, sure. So I started it back up, and he said, oh, yeah, it seems like there's something wrong with maybe your exhaust or maybe a hole in your muffler or something. And I was like, okay, well, I called one of my coworkers to come pick me up, and after work, I had my car towed and taken to the nearest car repair shop. And so the tow guy said, oh, I know exactly what the issue is. I think there's just a hole in your muffler. He said it's an easy fix, should be about $150. I was like, okay, that's not too bad. So I get to the car shop, I'm sitting there waiting, and the guy runs out of the garage, and he's like, you got a thief. And I was like, what? And he calls me in. He's like, you got to come see this. They lifted the car up, and someone had literally gotten under my car that night and cut off the catalytic converter, and they took it. And I guess there's like precious metals in these catalytic converters, and people take them to scrap yards and sell them for a few $100. And that's literally what someone had done. They'd gotten under my car at probably some, who knows what time in the morning, cut it off, and ran. I could not believe it. So I was really stressed out, and I got to the counter, and the guy totaled up all the parts that I needed and the labor that it would cost. And I was like, okay, so how much is it going to run me? He's like, $859. And my head just sank. I literally started tearing up. I was just so like, oh my gosh. I just paid my rent for the month, my electric bill, and now I have to pay $900 to have my car fixed. Fortunately, insurance covered everything except for $250, so that was a huge burden off my shoulders. But that was an interesting start to the week, to say the very least. So, yeah.
Yeah, that sucks.
That's really rough, man.
Yeah. Cars are not cheap, Zach, so when you get one, oh my gosh.
I'm not looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Honestly.
They suck.
I mean, I've seen just the problems that my brothers have had with their cars that they've gotten, so I'm just
yeah.
Yikes.
Well.
So video games.
So Alec, is there any YouTube videos you'd like to mention?
Yeah, I'm doing the same thing. I was looking through my looking back through my history. I've been watching I've been really keeping track of the Game Grumps Let's Play of Sonic 2006 because it's hilarious and has actually had me crying. I'm laughing so hard at some points of it. That game is just so bad.
Now, is that the one that came out on the original Xbox?
No, it was the
the Xbox 360. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It was kind of rushed out for the 15th anniversary of Sonic.
Okay.
I think. And yeah, that was a stupid move on their part.
Very notorious.
What's so bad
game.
about the game? Like,
super glitchy.
Okay.
There's all kinds of they're not trying to break the game, but they've broken. There's just so many different parts of the game that just doesn't make sense. There's also whole sections of the game where they don't explain what's going on or like what you're supposed to do next, other than just like you need to go to this place, but there's no indication of like how do I get to this place. Because in the weird hub world place, or in the weird hub world section, that looks shockingly like Delfino Plaza except less colorful. It's like there's like everything looks the same, so there's no clear sense of direction where to go. But and then there's like random levels in the middle of the campaign that are like, wow, I've got to look out for that lava. It'll hurt. So it's like, what? Was this game made in the wrong order, kind of? Or yeah. So I've been keeping track of that, and that's been a lot of fun. And I've been watching some of the Game Grumps other Let's Plays. You know, they do some versus stuff. So I watched some of their Mario Party 8 stuff, which is good. Looking back, a lot of my videos are just from the Gentleman's Music Challenge. I'm looking back through this. Mm-hmm. Oh, look, there's some of your videos, Zach.
Oh, yeah.
I went back and wanted to watch the All-Gen Gamers Couch Confessionals when I played Dynamite Ducks. So I went back and watched that again. That was fun. Because in Johnny's most recent video, Worst Video Game Box Art, at the end of the video, you can hear in the background the Dynamite Ducks music. And so that kind of got me like, hey, you know what? I want to go back and watch that and then play that game. The English trailer for the newest Studio Ghibli film was released.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it came out. It's here. I'll actually link you to it.
Okay, yeah.
It's coming out in theaters March 15th. Oh, so the Ides of March is when it's coming out. So,
Sweet.
For all you non-history people, that was the day that Caesar got assassinated. Anyways,
A2 Brute.
Yes, exactly. So I'm pretty excited about that. Needless to say, definitely going to be going to that when it comes out. I love Studio Ghibli so much, so.
Me too.
Yeah, it's just so good. Looking back at some other stuff. Some of the Super Bowl commercials that I missed. I looked at found some of those on YouTube.
That one was just ridiculous.
Which one?
The Kiss one.
I haven't seen that one yet, actually.
Oh my. Okay, well, watch it at some point, but you have to have the volume up because that's what makes it so disturbing.
Oh yeah, that's what I heard. Yeah.
Like, is there like?
It's like this super, attractive model making out with this really kind of, like porky looking, just like nerdy kid, and they zoom in on their faces, and there's no background noise, absolutely zero, and it's just them smacking lips, making out for like a good 10 to 15 seconds. It's crazy.
Man, I will have to give that a. I have to be alone when I'll.
Yeah.
Find a nice secluded area. And,
dark room. In the corner.
Anyways, I also watched Bots' review of Ed because I'd seen it like a bunch of times. Was like, all right, I'll watch that eventually. And recently we had the Game Chasers on, and pretty much the entire episode was them talking about 80s movies, which is fine.
I can imagine, yeah.
Even though Ed is actually a 90s movie, the Game Chasers said like we're gonna watch that sometime, and Botsa basically told them not to. So I watched the review, and I can honestly understand why Botsa does not want them to watch the movie because it looks terrifying. It's just like this midget in a chimp costume walking around and playing baseball. That's really just too bad. Anyways, seeing some other stuff. There's some other things in here, I know. That's pretty much it as far as I can tell. There was one thing, one interesting thing I watched. Have you guys heard of this? There's this fan project called Majora, and it's Majora's Mask. Obviously, is what it's based on, and it's actually a fan and some friends of him are helping him. He's got a guy that helps him edit, but he's actually writing an opera based on Majora's Mask.
Really?
Yes. It just recently got 2,000 likes on Facebook. I'm really looking forward to this a lot. He's currently, I think he's trying to get it sort of official kind of confirmation from Nintendo that this is kind of an okay thing for him to be doing. But nevertheless, he's still making progress every day on it, composing. It's, funnily enough, it's actually not going to have Link in it at all. The protagonist in it is actually going to be Cafe, and it's going to be sort of based on the sort of that long mask sequence in the game where sort of Link acts as a go-between for these two lovers that have been separated. So the opera is actually going to be more based on just that story and sort of Cafe's sort of reaction to it. And it's a really big project. I actually have some demos on YouTube about the different segments of the opera that he's written already. That he's had friends of his sort of help him, record and such. So it's really interesting. I'd really recommend giving a look-see and supporting this guy, because this is a heck of an endeavor. Operas are massive achievements. Even if you don't like them, you can at least appreciate the amount of time that sort of goes into it. So
yeah,
definitely. Have you both of you guys played through Majora's Mask?
Oh yes.
Zach?
Not so much.
I've never played it myself, so don't feel ashamed. I really want to, but I just haven't had a chance.
I have it on the Virtual Console now, because they were giving it away for Club Nintendo at some point, but still haven't played it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's an excellent game. It's sort of become the hipster sort of Zelda game recently, like the one that's like, it's the cool one to like now.
Yeah.
No one really used to like that game, but I mean, I guess you can call it the hipster Zelda. It was once, anyways, because the people who liked it now are like, I used to like it before everybody did. But
yeah.
But yeah, it is an excellent game. It's one of my favorites. But I've actually 100%ed it twice.
Really? Wow.
I've gone and gotten everything in it twice. A lot of the game is actually side quests, just because it only had 1 year development cycle, which is actually ridiculous when you think about it. But yeah, so this opera is pretty cool. So they recently posted an update. Actually, the guy who's composing its computer just recently died. He's been doing it on pen and paper. He still has it backed up and everything, all the files and such. So, but he's been composing mainly on pen and paper.
Wow.
Yeah, but he's opened it up for donations now. He used to be not taking any donations at all, but this kind of setback, he kind of realized that because if people want to actually pay, give me money for what I'm doing, then they can do that, But so yeah, pretty sweet. And that's about it for YouTube for me.
All right. So podcast. Rusty, what podcast have you been listening to?
Well, I listened to the Operation Kill Screen, their most recent episode, earlier in the week, and that was enjoyable. Although I'm really kind of wanting to know where the latest TV and Lust episode is, because I don't know, Craig uploads those so sporadically Like, I never know when they record or when they upload. It's not very consistent anymore, which kind of is a shame. But,
Yeah.
so, let's see, what else have I listened to? Today, actually, while I was playing Tales of Vesperia for a few hours, I listened to the episode 84 of the All Gen Gamers when Johnny and Pete go on their rant about Final Fantasy XI.
That was one of the best.
Yeah, since they didn't put out an episode this week, I was like, oh, I gotta go back and listen to a older episode, and I haven't listened to that one since the first time I'd listened to it, so that was pretty enjoyable. Just on a side note, have you guys ever gotten into any MMOs?
Nope. I've been able to stay away from that for the most part. Though, though I would, if I had a PS3, I would be incredibly tempted to get Realm Reborn, Final Fantasy.
Yeah, definitely. Zach, have you ever delved into any MMOs?
Never extensively. Only I would dabble in some of the free ones.
Okay.
Never the paid ones. Like random ones, like this one called Mabinogi, which is like an anime style MMORPG. I played that for a bit.
Okay.
And that was kind of fun. And RuneScape back when that used to be cool.
Oh yeah.
I used to play that all the time, but yeah, that's about it.
Oh, nice. But yeah, as far as other podcasts, nothing else is coming to mind at the moment. So yeah, I think that's about it. It's been a pretty busy week for me at work, so. What about you, Alec? Any podcasts this week?
I have mainly been listening to,
The Hey Listen video game podcast.
Unfortunately, no.
Never.
I'm sorry. I promise I will catch up with it. I will listen through someday. That's sort of what I'm doing with that's what I'm doing with the Radical Rascals podcast. Actually, I've started back at episode 1 and then working my way upwards. I think I'm currently at episode 8. I think I'm at episode 8 right now. Right. So I've been listening to those pretty consistently. Every time I kind of have free time, or right before bed, I'll be. I've been playing Final Fantasy 2 lately, so been playing that and listening to them at the same time. So that has been that's been that. And I was kind of bummed there was no All Gen Gamers. We are the community podcast for them, so it's kind of nice when there's a new episode. And it was kind of sad that they didn't actually even update that. Oh, we're not posting an episode this week, but just sort of didn't post an episode this week.
I did see that somewhere.
Yeah.
They said that? They said...
They put something on Facebook today, I think.
Yeah.
I think that was in response to someone wrote on the forums that about that. And then I know our good friend Darrow kind of said, they was kind of, to put his 2 cents in there, basically saying they shouldn't laze around and not tell us when they're not posting an episode.
Darren's not afraid to speak his mind.
And I applaud him for that.
Definitely.
So, sometimes somebody's got to say it, and it might as well be him. So.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, the All Gen Gamers are like one of the most consistent podcasts out there, though.
That is true.
Yeah.
But, they have been slacking a little bit lately, though. I mean, not they haven't been posting episodes and not telling us, but I mean, they have, it's been getting later and later in the week, is kind of what I mean by that.
But I mean, I think you have to at the end of the day, people like Gamester, I mean, it is unreal, his commitment to YouTube and All Gen Gaming.
Yeah,
for a guy that's married, has a full-time job, 4 YouTube channels. I mean, how he manages it, I have no idea. But my hat goes off to him. He is just one heck of a guy.
Yeah, and he travels for work too. So
exactly. He's like, I'm in the hospital right now with a broken elbow. How is everyone doing? On the live episode, it's crazy. His passion and devotion to the podcast is just unreal.
It is. Yeah, he's a real trooper. Definitely.
I don't know how, isn't he like a manager of the job too?
I have no idea what he
I'm
does.
not sure.
I know, it's like a mystery, but I heard he was a manager or something. I can just imagine him, like, going into the back room with a camera and be like, okay, I'll be right back, guys. I gotta just do one thing.
I gotta record a quick unboxing of a Star Wars figure. I'll be right back. No, John's awesome.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So is that it?
I believe so, for me, at least.
For
Yep,
Alec?
That is it. That is it for the podcast. How about yourself, Zach?
Well, I'm like kind of consistently behind on every podcast right now. Like I'm like consistently 2 episodes behind. So people will be like praising an episode, and then I'll find out 2 weeks later and be like, "Oh yeah, this episode's awesome." But yeah, I listened to Radical Rascals while I was playing a game earlier. I was listening to that a lot. I was on the episode with Caffeine Media Girl, and that was a pretty good episode. I think I just about finished it up, and then Algin Gamers I listened to a bit as well. And like a couple weeks ago, I listened to the User's Happy Console Gamer one, which is a really good one. I still need to listen to the Game Chasers episode though.
I still need to do that as well.
Yeah, that was one I was really looking forward to.
It was a lot of fun. Let me just tell you that. Yeah, I know I didn't really talk a whole lot during it, but trust me, I was having a real great time having them on. You know, it's the Game Chasers and Melvor too, so got Melvor in there as well. So that was a lot of fun having them on, and it was also.
I'm surprised he got all of them on. Like, not only to get one, he got 3.
Yeah, well, we've been working on this for a few months actually, trying to get them on. It's been really hard to find times, but
yeah, we got a couple people that are like you got inconsistent schedules, so they're kind of on the back burner for like random times. They'll just bring them out again and be like, okay, can you do this week? Oh no. Then just do a random person. Yeah. But yeah, I've also been listening to the primary podcast I was listening to a couple weeks ago, and I'm still listening to it a bit. It's Creature Talk, and that's the one with all the like Let's Players and people like Uberhack Nova and the people in the group he's in. I'm like on the really old episodes from 2011, and because I like refuse to skip ahead to their most recent episode. They're on like 59, and I'm on, I forget, it's 20, like the early 20s. So I'm trying to catch up, but I want to see how they progress with it. But yeah, so that's been good. And
nice.
Is that it? That's it. So we can get into games, Alec. So kind of exclude the one game and just talk about everything else. Yeah.
Okay. So let's see. What have I been playing? Well, I guess I was playing. Let's see. What did I play last night? I played some Sonic the Hedgehog actually last night. A little bit of that. I played. I was doing. I finished up my new game plus on Bastion actually. Got the rest of the achievements for that and beat that game again, and what an excellent game. It's so good. Let's see. Also played. I just completely melted right there. I don't know. I lost it for a sec. But anyways, yeah. One game I've been playing is okay. Have you guys heard of the game Katawa Shoujo?
No, I don't think so.
Nope.
Come on, Zach. You did the music challenge.
I've heard of it, but
yeah. So that was the question. It was just heard of.
Well,
anyways,
it's kind of yeah. It's debatable whether that counts as heard of. If you just know the name of it.
You've heard it? Okay, so you've sort of heard of it. Anyways, it's actually a visual novel made by a group of people on 4chan. Funnily enough, it was a development studio that spawned out of 4chan, which is sounds a little disreputable, but the game is actually really really good. But I played that earlier. It was like last October or something, or September. I don't remember when. But I've actually was playing a Flash game based on it called Katawa Crash, which is, think of it like an endless runner game, except you launch this ball. It's actually the main character, but you just launch a ball towards the right of the screen, and it's just completely scrolling the whole time. And you're trying to keep him up. You're trying to keep him bouncing in the air as much as you can. And there's like this crazy J-pop song playing in the background. And you're trying to like hit characters that are all on the ground, all lined up on the ground. So when you hit the ground, if you hit a certain person, different people have different abilities. So if you hit this one person, you'll go up in the air higher. If you get them when they have there's like a little special meter. If you hit them when they have this special meter on, they'll launch you up even higher and faster. So essentially, you're just trying to stay aloft as long as possible, and not get caught, because there's one character that actually ends your game immediately. So you're trying to avoid that as well. So it's shockingly fun. For when me and my roommate first discovered it, we actually were like going back and forth trying to beat each other's high scores. It's more fun than it should be, I think, is honestly. But yeah, it's a ridiculous game, but nevertheless a good time waster. I broke out Soul Calibur 2 last night.
Great game.
Excellent game. It's the GameCube version, so it is with Link.
Nice.
Yeah, so the superior version, obviously.
Yeah.
That was fun. I was actually playing that just before I went to get something to eat. And I was like, oh, Zach came online. Okay, good. But then I didn't get a message from him, so I'm like, and then friends of mine are like, hey, we're finally going to give us stuff to eat. And I was like, sweet. And Zach messaged me and was like, hey, ready yet? And I was like, I'm leaving to get something to eat. But anyways, yes, so I was playing Soul Calibur 2. Very fun, great game. As I mentioned before, I also started Final Fantasy 2. So that's I'm trying to beat. I've been trying to beat over the past few months as many Final Fantasy games as I can in a year. And last year I got through 13-2, Final Fantasy 1 and 7, and this year I'm gunning for trying to get through Final Fantasy 2, 3, 6, and then
13.
10, and as well as Lightning Returns. Well, I've beaten 13 already, so...
Okay, good.
Yeah. I wouldn't play 13-2 without having already beaten 13.
Yeah, I was hoping.
Yeah, that'd be dumb. And I'm actually one of the very few that... I will defend that game until I die. I love
and me both.
Game. I love that game to death, so...
Yep.
My brother just started playing 13 not too long ago.
Oh, yeah?
So good.
Yeah.
It really is. Great memories right there.
Yep.
And that was only 3 years ago. Wow, 3 years ago now. Wow. Oh my gosh. It's crazy to think about. And Lightning Returns as well this year, so when that comes out.
Alright, just real quick, are you playing 1 and 2 on the PSP, or what are you playing those on?
I don't own a PSP, unfortunately. I really want one. That's probably number 2 on my, maybe 3. Maybe it's tied for 2. I don't know. On my systems I need to get next list is 3DS, PS3, and then the PSP is there too.
Gotcha.
I actually played. I have the Dawn of Souls compilation on the Game Boy Advance, but I actually played.
Okay.
Yeah, but I actually played through Final Fantasy 1 on the on my iPod actually, because I have an iPod Touch, so I played through that on there, which was fun. And yeah, then I've been just playing 2 on the Dawn of Souls on the Game Boy. So yeah, that's been it's been good. A lot of fun actually. I've been you know, 2 has that really weird like leveling system. So I've just been, you know, having my party members beat each other up so they can get their HP all up, leveled up. So yep. That's been great, and I think that's it. And except I did remember one thing that I unfortunately couldn't remember from the YouTube thing, and that's because it's not specifically YouTube. I've been watching people live stream various Square Enix games. They're a group called Project Crystallis, which is very similar to the. They're sort of inspired by the. Sorry, there's people singing outside. So it was sort of inspired by the Operation Rainfall kind of movement, and so these people are trying to you know, gain support and trying to get information. The goal is trying to get Final Fantasy Type 0 localized.
Yes.
As well as getting more, you know, having Square Enix finally give us more information about Final Fantasy Versus 13, which they haven't done in a very long time.
That game will come out the day The Last Guardian comes out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, which actually will probably be the same day that they release Half-Life 3 as well.
Which will probably be the same day the world ends.
Probably just to spite us all.
Yeah.
Funny joke. Nice. Funny joke life.
You're a funny joke life. I don't even know what that means. Or I don't know what that means. But so yeah, I've been watching that, and definitely would encourage anyone who likes those games to to look into them. They have a very colorful cast of different people who stream, so to say the least. But they recently finished off Kingdom Hearts, Final Fantasy Legend 3. One guy beat Final Fantasy 1 in one sitting, and then beat Final Fantasy 2 in one sitting, which I guess isn't really hard, but still relatively impressive.
Isn't he an animal?
He's a what?
An animal?
He's an animal. He is an animal. I guess he beat Final Fantasy Legend 3 in one sitting as well, but that's a Game Boy game, so. And yeah, they're working on a bunch of different games now. I think they might have just also finished off Star Ocean: The Last Hope. I think they're working on Xenosaga Episode 1 right now, as well as a few others that I can't think of off the top. So yeah, off the top. That's right. Anyways, so yeah, definitely you know, look into them. They're looking for people to sign their petition and, you know, join their Facebook group and garbage like that. So yeah. So
nice.
That's it for games I've been playing and or watching.
Alright. As for me, I was playing alongside Tales of Vesperia. I was playing Fire Emblem: The Sacred Stones on the Game Boy Advance.
Awesome game.
Yeah, I forget what chapter I was up to. I didn't get very far. I was up to chapter 5.
It's a long game.
Is it?
Yeah, it took me about 22 hours to beat that.
I'm not particularly good at Fire Emblem myself.
They're tough.
Yeah, I was trying to keep everyone alive, and I kept failing, and it was annoying me. So I don't think I'm gonna keep everyone alive.
Yeah, I definitely didn't.
Yeah, it's hard because I feel compelled. Like I was like, I have to do this, keeping everyone alive. Then I think there's a part where this, you know, maybe minor spoilers. I think there's a part where there's like a path split, sort of, and I learned out later on that I actually took the harder of the two paths. And I was like, oh, well, that explains why I got pissed off and stopped playing. So.
Yeah, my brother played through Path of Radiance and Radiant Dawn all without losing anyone.
Wow.
Yeah, I really love Path of Radiance, but I definitely wasn't able to do it without losing anyone. And I definitely want to finish Radiant Dawn soon because I still need to do that. I just don't feel like it's right for me to get Fire Emblem Awakening without beating at least one or two of these games. Because I also have Shadow Dragon on the DS too. And I know Cole loves Radiant Dawn so much.
Fire Emblem Awakening has some awesome box artwork.
Yeah, it does.
So yeah, that's that. I'm really not. It hasn't blown me away. Like, I personally have always thought the Path of Radiance and Radiant Dawn, like the home console versions, were superior to the handheld ones. Even though the majority of the series is really on handheld, and that's where its focus is. But yeah. So Lego Harry Potter, years 1 through 4.
Nice.
Playing that with my brother on co-op. And that's pretty good. I mentioned last time, that was last episode, that I don't like how it's kind of structured in a way. I think it's kind of disorganized somewhat, like going throughout the Hogwarts and whatnot. But it's been just as any other Lego game. I kind of want to play that tonight, actually. Maybe after this. Kind of in the mood to play that.
Break it out.
But it's really weird, like some of the character choices they choose to put in there. Just to, it's obviously just to fill in to show they have more characters and everything. Because they have one of the characters is just boy. That you can unlock.
It's really strange.
One is girl, and then one is Gryffindor boy, Hufflepuff boy, Slytherin boy, all those different kinds.
Oh gosh.
Now, what I really didn't like about this game is, correct me if I'm wrong, but in the Star Wars Lego games, I thought like when you interact with a certain character, they're automatically unlocked and you can buy them. Is that right? Because in the Lego Harry Potter games, you have to like literally find the character token around the castle, and then you can purchase them.
Yeah, that's annoying, because like even when you control someone, like you won't even have them unlocked until you get the token.
Yeah, I know.
Really
it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I think it's once you come across the character, I think that you unlock them or something. I think that's the way it was, anyways.
Yeah. I don't know. It's been so long since I played the original Lego Star Wars.
You think that they would come. The book has all kinds of minor characters and throwaway people that she just sort of mentions. J.K. Rowling just kind of mentions, like, you could just like put one of them in there as like Slytherin boy. Like,
Yeah.
Put in like Blaze Zabini or whatever as Slytherin boy. There you go.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Like, yeah, it's kind of lazy stuff just so they can have higher quantity and everything.
Yeah.
Because also the shop is like, especially in the beginning, you'll unlock like, isn't it even when you get the tokens, sometimes you have to actually go to the shop and buy it first?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I mean,
that's even worse.
Yeah, you have to find the token, and then you go to the shop, and then you buy them, and it's just...
That's pretty lame.
The shop itself is kind of a hassle, because...
Yeah, it is, because it's completely out of your way. You have to leave Hogwarts and go to, Diagon Alley or whatever.
Yeah.
And, it's just kind of annoying. It's...
Seems like an unnecessary hassle.
Yeah, definitely.
And then you get into the shop, and especially in the beginning, you just scroll for, like, what feels like 10 hours just scrolling through the long line of characters. Because it doesn't... The logical thing to do would have, like, a grid of all of them.
Yeah.
But, it's just one long line. You scroll through one at a time.
Yeah.
And then, I start wondering, like, oh, do I not have any unlocked? Am I just going through repeats constantly? Because they're just black shadows of characters, so... there he is.
Can you build your own, characters? I don't know how interesting that would be, though, for Harry Potter. Like, I used to love doing that for the Star Wars ones. I would make, someone in all black, with, like, a hood, and then have them have, like, the Jawa, like, eyes, to make them look, like, really creepy, and then I'd give them a red lightsaber, so...
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So that's Lego Harry Potter. But yeah, otherwise, pretty cool. Like, the different, another annoying thing is, like, the spells, like, you can actually, like, buy spells, but they're, at least from what I've seen, they're pointless, the ones that I bought.
Yeah, they are.
They're just little cosmetic things, but when you're playing in co-op, this is kind of annoying, because there's different stuff, like, you can use a spell that, like, transforms you into these weird things. And if you're playing with someone in co-op, they often feel inclined to do this to you. And they'll just shoot you with it. And it's like a whole, like, 10 seconds that you're stuck in this position. And you're going through this animation, and you're like, and then he's just walking around, doing what he wants. And then that starts a war, and you just have to keep going until someone gets out.
Well, yeah.
So yeah, there you go, that's that.
So basically, never buy Lego Harry Potter. It's terrible.
Oh, I wonder, have you played years 5 through 7?
I actually have it in my newest pickup video. I just got it like last week.
Yeah, I wanna see if there's any apparent changes in that, or if they just copy and pasted it.
I hope they didn't. I hope there's some improvements. But I really, really want to get Lego Lord of the Rings. I've heard that game is really good.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, they pump out Lego games so much, but I'm excited each time, because it's like
a
whole new world every time.
I know. I mean, I seriously would love to get, like, Pirates of the Caribbean, the Indiana Jones, and definitely the newest Lego Batman, the second one.
Yeah. I heard that's really good.
And also, on the Game Informer, Lego Marvel Superheroes coming out, too.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome.
Oh, man.
And I've heard rumors about Lego Back to the Future as well.
Oh, my goodness.
Box of bread.
So good.
That'd be awesome.
Oh, man.
Especially if they got voice acting in that. That would just be perfect.
Oh, that would be really good, yeah.
There's so much they can do with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That sparked some discussion. There you go.
Yeah.
Also, a game I kind of played on the side, like, once or twice. My friend came over one night, and, he played SpongeBob SquarePants Lights, Camera, Pants.
What a great game.
That sounds dirty.
It's a classic. You know, I really don't mind. I actually really liked the SpongeBob SquarePants movie game, and the Battle for Bikini Bottom is actually really good, too.
Actually, yeah, I've played Battle for Bikini Bottom. That game actually is kind of fun.
Yeah. But, Lights, Camera, Pants, you know, it's one of those games where it's, like, incredibly unpolished, but you can still have fun with it when you're with someone else. It's like it's basically like a mini-game compilation. And, you know how often that works out when you have, like, a licensed game and a mini-game set up, so...
Yeah.
Like, they have whenever you have racing segments in a game like this, it's, like, so slippery, the controls. It's really terrible. And, there's some really, like, monotonous games, too, but there's some good ones. Like, I do like the memorization games. Those are fun. Like, you'll have to do, like, this choir thing, and you'll memorize the button combinations. So, those are kind of cool. And it's more... it's cool that you can play, like, the campaign with the friend, too. Like, kind of side by side as a team. But at the same time, you compete with each other, because, like, you get points tallied up, and then at the end of each, like, group of mini-games, then you, decide the winner. And then, it was weird, because, like, the first game, we worked as a team, but I did better than him at one point. And, like, apparently it capped us off as, like, at, like, a certain amount. It caps you off at a certain amount if you win with the points you get. And then it kind of, like, bumped him up a little bit more. And then, yeah, at the end, like, I think I had a little bit more points than him, but we passed, like, a certain line. So it went into, like, a rock, paper, scissors duel for who would be the best. It's a logical decision, but... Luckily, I won that rock, paper, scissors, all out skill. But yeah, that's that. There were definitely better games we could have played, but that's fun to do. And
Cool.
aside from that, I played a little bit of Drawn to Life on the DS. I had never played it before. It seemed kind of interesting, but I'm not very creative when it comes to drawing, so really, like, it didn't work out very well. Like, but it was kind of cool. You could create your own character models and stuff. I made, like, a really weird-looking guy, and then it's cool because they have different boxes for, like, arms and legs and stuff. So I made, like, a stick figure, and he actually looks kind of good walking around, just a stick figure, if you put the legs in the right spot and everything. But then it'll ask you to, like, draw... I don't know, it'll ask you to draw random things. I can never think of creative things to draw. And, this is probably not the game for me, but... And the kind of options are limited now in comparison to what you usually see, because it's obviously, like, really basic, but... So that's Drawn to Life. I probably won't play much of that. You know, I saw Locke's Quest. Have you seen this? Have you played this game before?
I've heard about it, and I was actually thinking, like, actually my mind went right to that when you mentioned Drawn to Life for some reason. I guess it's similar, something similar about it, I guess.
I think it's a sequel to it, actually. If I'm not mistaken. I might be, but it seems like it's really different. But
it's like, yeah. Well, it says here it's an RTS. I'm looking it up on the Wikipedias.
Yeah, I was gonna look it up too, but... See, that kind of looks more appealing to me, Locke's Quest, but... Drawn to Life, I think I got it because it was, like, really cheap. I was always able to find that game for really cheap, like... Must have been $5 at the most.
Well, it's made by the same developer that did it. So there's Drawn to Life, and Scribblenauts is actually their, that's their love, you know, their thing that they're doing now. That's their, I don't know what you want to call it. Their thing. They're doing that now.
Have you thought about getting Scribblenauts Unlimited for the Wii U, Zach?
Oh yeah. I've got 3 games on it now, and that's one of the main ones I want now. Because I've also watched Far From Subtle do some of their playthrough on that too, and that's a really awesome game. It works really well with the Wii U, it looks like.
Yeah, I think it'd make really great use of the tablet.
Yeah. But yeah, it looks like a really awesome game. I've got Scribblenauts and Super Scribblenauts on the DS, but it actually looks even better than those.
You get cameos from, like, Zelda characters and Mario characters and stuff in there, too.
Yeah, the one thing I don't like about that, though, is they've noticed throughout that, like, they'll try to use them as, like, solutions, and apparently none of the Nintendo characters work as solutions for anything.
Oh, that's too bad.
Like, it'll be like, put in a heroic warrior, or someone that could help fight against the bad guy. You know, put in Link and just plop him in there, and he just sits there.
Link's just was like, yeah, you know what, I don't really feel like fighting today.
It's like, nope, and then he just puts in warrior, and then that works. Alright. But yeah.
And then Link comes out of the warrior one, and then fights. Okay. No.
Yeah. But yeah, it's got some really awesome... Yeah, another thing I really like is they have, like, these sort of niche and, like, these niche references they make. Like, you can put in Nyan Cat, and that appears in there. You can also put in Keyboard Cat, and that appears. Stuff like that. But
you put in Cthulhu. Always Cthulhu.
Yeah, that's another one you can do. But it's cool. You can, if you're really into that. But it's like really like in-depth stuff you can do. Like you can put in different like properties for objects. Like you could make a cat that's like purple and yellow, and then make it be able to wear it as a hat, and then stuff like that. And you can, like, there's certain interaction stuff you can do, like, always investigate, like, dogs or something. So there's a lot of in-depth stuff there, but... Anyway, the last game really, outside of those and the main game, was Klonoa, which was my second challenge after Gentleman's Challenge. And I just beat that not too long ago, today. And
Very nice.
I got 100% on it too, because I got all the pieces, and then I got the extra vision, which is what they call like levels or visions. So it's a pretty fun game, but that extra vision is kind of annoying to me. But I naturally kind of collect all the stuff, so it was a given that I was gonna unlock that. But yeah, the ending was really unexpected. I'm not gonna say anything, but
I know I've heard it's shockingly emotional.
yeah,
It is.
I didn't expect that. Like, the whole game had like a generic storyline. It seemed like they're like, oh, okay, we gotta fight this bad guy, and he's like, hey, I'm a bad guy. But then it was like, it just got like dark all of a sudden at the end.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, okay.
Yeah, I still need to play that game. Yeah, you played it was the Wii version of it, right? He's the one you played. Yeah.
Incredibly short game, actually. You could burn through it in a day easily.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I still don't know what my next challenge is gonna be. I'm gonna try to do the Ultimate Gens Challenge, my game to acquire that title, but we'll see how that works out. It's really gonna depend on the game, whether I commit to it or not. Because I don't feel like I have as much of an obligation to beat the game anymore. Like, so I don't have to pressure myself into it, but
I mean, even if you played it really casually, you still have plenty of time, so.
yeah. Unless he gives me, like, another RPG, I might not be able to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I still might be able to. How long did I beat Tales of Vesperia in? I don't know.
About a month, maybe.
Yeah.
When does it end? Like March 3rd or something?
March 1st, I think, wasn't it?
I'm not sure.
We'll call it kind of close then, but plus I was actually into Tales of Vesperia, so it would depend on if I was able to get hooked into it, but
That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
so that's that. Man, that was kind of a compilation of the last, like, while. Seems like over a week. It doesn't even though I said games we've been playing last episode, it feels like longer, but yeah, so how about you? What have you been playing, Rusty?
Well, I picked up my DS XL. Finally, I love that system so much. And I popped in the first Professor Layton game. I beat the Unwound Future a while back, which I really, really enjoyed. It's taken me so long to get into the series. I don't really know why, but it is just such a great series of games. I mean, the storytelling is just really interesting, and the cutscenes especially are very, very well done and really well animated. And it's really kind of I really want to get the that animated movie that they recently came out with.
Really?
And I shouldn't say recently. I mean, it came out maybe a year or so ago. But and the music as well. It's just all around a really, really great puzzle game. And I'm not into puzzle games because I'm terrible at puzzle games. And half the time I have to use like a dozen hint coins to figure these puzzles out. But the story is definitely compelling enough to make me continue playing these games. And I'm only about, 3 or so hours into The Curious Village, but they're not very long games. I mean, they're probably like, anywhere from 8 to 12-hour stories. But yeah, I'm looking forward to playing through that and then moving on to the Diabolical Box at some point as well, and some of the other entries in the series. But moving on, I also played a little bit more of Dead Island, kind of steadily making progress in that. About 70% of the way through, I just made it to the jungle, which is kind of the third act in the game, if you guys are familiar with that game. It's pretty fun, kind of clunky controls, similar to Oblivion, but it's a really fun kind of zombie apocalypse game. It's definitely a fun game to come home to at night and just kind of turn off your brain after a long days of work and just kind of hack zombies for an hour or so. And it's also kind of got me pretty excited for Dead Island Riptide coming out later this year as well. But so that's been pretty fun, and then really the only other game that I've been playing is Tales of Vesperia, which we'll get into here pretty soon. So I'm not sure if you want to go ahead and move on to news, Zach, but that's all I've been playing this week. So
yeah, I don't actually have much news to share. Do you guys have anything you'd like to mention, or do you want us to move on?
Well, the PS4 is supposed to be announced in a couple weeks here.
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah.
Or they haven't actually said what's being announced, but we can only assume.
Yeah, people have assumed, and now if it's not the PS4, then that's not going to be good for them.
Well, it's like because they're like the next generation of PlayStation or something. Like, they said something, or the next step or something. I don't remember what the image said exactly, but
it's the PS Vita XL.
It's an announcement for the PlayStation Vita price drop. So.
The next generation. Everyone would be so mad at them after that, I think. Way to go, Sony! You did it again. This is about the time when we don't want you to advertise your handhelds, and that's when you do it.
Yeah. But yeah, there really wasn't a whole lot of news this week. So, I mean, would you guys just want to go ahead and move into the roundtable discussion then?
Yeah, so today we've got a huge topic to talk about here. And that's what I'd like to refer to as a Brave Vesperia Roundtable. And we're going to be talking about the game we were all assigned for the Gentleman's Challenge 5, because there's like this crew of loyal Vesperia fans on PGRF that like attacked us all at once.
Yeah, pretty much.
Zaman sent on his soldiers, and then so first let's ask what our progress is. How many hours? So Alec, how many hours are you into this?
Man, I wish I hadn't turned my 360 off because I accidentally turned it on earlier. I think it is. I know it's in the 40s. I want to say like 42, 43, 44. It's somewhere in there. I don't know a specific time.
Alright, well, what about you, Rusty?
In the early 40s.
Well, my actual playtime is probably about 42-ish, 45. But when I come home from work, I usually I go to the gym and then I come back to my apartment, and my 360 is on from about 7:30 until like maybe 11:30, even if I'm not playing, because like I'll take a break from playing Vesperia and like eat supper and then come back to it, and I'll just leave the 360 on. So a lot of that's just like filler time, but my actual clock time is like 64, 65 hours, something like that.
I saw it on Backlogger. It's like, whoa! It took me 56 hours to beat the game.
Yeah. So yeah, a lot of that time is not me actually playing.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, yeah.
No, I'm sorry. It's not up yet. I thought it was, but nope. I lied.
So yeah, I put in, like, at the end it was 56 hours after I beat it all. I don't know if you guys go at the same pace or not, it really depends. Like, it's really hard to tell in RPG how long it's going to take you.
Yeah.
That's, like, one of the hardest games to determine that for. But I looked on howlongtobeat.com, and there were, like, it was, like, 55 hours, I think, for, like, the story plus some extras. And it was, like, really close to mine, so it's kind of accurate, but...
Okay, so... 43... Oh, crap. Yeah, it was 42 hours and 36 minutes. That's what it said, so... And I just recently entered the, I guess what you would call the third act of the game, so...
So yeah, you're just a step ahead of me. I got to the boss that you just beat.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah, so are either of you guys doing the Fell Arms challenge?
No.
Nope, no one challenged me to do that, but I do want to find, like, search them out, though.
Yeah?
I think.
Do you?
Are they kind of like the Devil's Arms from Tales of Symphonia?
If I played that, I might be able to relate that.
Oh, okay, never mind then.
But, yeah, they're kind of simple to collect them. You know, that's not really the challenging part of it. But, there's kind of like a whole process to it. First, you have to get your Sorcerer's Ring up to level 5. And then you pretty much have to go on GameFAQs or something. That's kind of what I don't like about some of the things on this game, is that you have to search them up pretty much. It's not really, like, cohesive with the game, but... And then they're just, like, sprawled at random places you'll have to go to, and you pretty much just grab them, and then... At the end is when it actually makes a difference, so... That made for such a miserable time for me.
Yeah, I heard the final boss for you was quite a challenge.
Man, I couldn't stand this. I was, like, so much trouble at the time. Like, I couldn't believe what I was seeing here. It was, like, all because of this challenge that Darrow gave me. I was like, oh man, I beat the second form, no problem. I would have been done with the game, like, hours ago here. And then I go to his third form, and he's like, oh man, look at me. I'm all super powerful with over 500,000 HP.
That sounds pretty miserable.
And I'm like, alright. And then I'm like, alright, I'm getting close to it. 100,000 HP, that's pretty darn good. Got a fifth of his HP left here. And then he's like, oh, Mystic Arts. And then, boom, 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 thousands of HP going down. And then I'm down to 1 HP for everyone. And then I'm like, oh god, let's heal Estelle. Oh, here you go, take this. And then Estelle's like, alright, I'm gonna run up and fight him with 1 HP.
Yeah, see, I hate it when that happens.
And then I'm like, no, I gotta take control of her. I'm like, I throw a lasso and I reel her in. And then I'm like, okay, you gotta use your magic on these guys. Like, what are you doing? You got plenty of MP here, now you gotta use Resurrection. And then, like, just as I do that, she's like, oh, can I use this life bottle? I'm like, no, you can't use the life bottle. Because it's like this boss, I was like, you're limited to a certain amount of life bottles, which you really need to rely on. And towards the end, you start running out, and I'm like, I need to conserve these for Estelle, because once you bring Estelle back, then she can bring everyone back. And then I'm like, then you have to do everything for her, because she just wants to run in, guns a-blazing, and swinging that sword around. And I'm like, no, this is not what you're meant to do. I said all her stats saying, like, heal allies and stay away from enemies and all these things. She doesn't care. But and then Rapia is actually really helpful though, because he's like constantly using stuff to heal my status ailments and stuff. Basically, my whole strategy throughout the battle was going to overdrive. What's it called?
Overlimit, yeah.
Yeah, and then just spam the heck out of A button and just bam, 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 and then I'd use like a big move or something, and then but it was really frustrating because then, like, just as I did that, he'd use something and I tried to use my arts, and then I realized he did something to me that makes me not be able to use my arts, so then I have to use an item on myself, and then by the time I do that, then my overlimit's all used up, and then, oh man, that was difficult. I got it by the skin of my teeth, that battle, but yeah, Rita was really helpful for that battle. She did a lot of useful spells while we were in there. Raven, I tried using Raven and he was terrible.
Who do you guys typically have in your party?
Yeah, this would be a good question to get in.
Let's see, I got Yuri, and then I've got Estelle, Rapide, and Rita.
Okay.
What about you?
Right now I have Yuri, Raven, Rita, and Estelle, but like earlier in the game, I actually used Carol quite a bit, which a lot of people find him annoying as all heck, but I don't know. I mean, I think some of the quirks and stupid things he says are kind of funny and comical and bring some like kind of comic relief to the story. So I used him quite a bit earlier on in the game, but as you get further, you kind of need some of the more art savvy people like Raven and Estelle and Rita. So
yeah, for me, I kind of switch back and forth a little bit. Almost at all times, I have. I mean, I'm controlling Yuri almost all the time because it's just that's awesome. He's the typical Tales sword character. But he's very very simple to use and very fun. Also, let's see. Usually, I think right now I have. Let's see. Well, okay, I'll just do what I normally say. I normally have in Yuri, Estelle. I switch out Rita and.
Oh dear Lord.
I'm sorry, I'm just blanking. Okay, so anyways. Man, I'm awful. Okay, so Yuri, there we go. We got that. Estelle, she's my healer. I need her in there at all times. Raven, I have him in there because I love archers in anything, even if they're awful. And also have Judith in there because I like another companion person going around and killing stuff.
Yeah, that's what it is.
With me. So I don't have Rapide in. I like Rapide just because, oh my gosh, I have a dog that has a pipe in my party. That is awesome.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't have him in my party very much. I feel like I should, but like I don't know because I like his design and everything. But I don't know.
Do you have do you guys use the magic lenses often?
Oh, I use them every battle.
Yeah, I do that.
Obsessively, actually.
Because the reason I kind of keep Rapide in is because he's got that ability that lets you see the enemy's HP in the bar. When you use magic lenses. I was like, for a while I didn't know what was going on. I was like, okay, I'm using magic lenses. Now where's this bar at? I saw it for a couple times and it's not there. Then I realized it was when Rapide wasn't there. And that's actually really convenient to have for some of the big boss battles, to give you an idea of how much risk you can really take without having to keep like peek at the number. But yeah, that's one of the problems I have with the game is you can't. For myself, I found you couldn't vary your party that much because you have Yuri, and you pretty much have to have Yuri because he's like the only one you can really handle well fighting. And he's got all the best like arts and everything. And then you have to have Estelle, or you're pretty much screwed. Yeah. Like Estelle's like at one point when we didn't have Estelle, I was like, oh god, what are we gonna do?
And that was actually a unfortunately lengthy period.
Yeah, that really was.
I was like, what am I gonna do? So then I looked and I made Carol the healer. Because
I made.
Why?
I actually used because Raven has a healing spell.
I was just about to say the same thing. I did too.
Yeah, I used that the whole time because he was actually very very good at doing that, keeping the party HP up as well as attacking all the time. So, I think
might be a good option then.
Because it was a kind of a quick spell and he didn't have to move around. See, the problem with Carol is that he has to move around to do all of this stuff. So,
but yeah, so there's that. And then the only one I found I could switch out at that point was Rita. And I found Rita worked the best because she had, like, some awesome spells like the, like Champagne, which just kind of, like, keeps them getting hit constantly and keeps them in one spot. Stuff like that. Like, they kind of, like, take over, like, the whole place you're fighting in, which is helpful.
AoE spells. Oh yeah.
Yeah. And so that's that. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, I was gonna say that it's interesting they give you the option to fight as anyone else, but it's like for me it's really painful to fight as anyone else.
Oh my gosh, have you guys ever used Carol?
Yes. Yes.
Oh.
Yep.
He's so slow.
It's really really clunky. He's
painful.
Oh, it's so difficult to do. Like,
yeah.
It would take a while. I think I could eventually get used to it, but much like Persea from Tales of Symphonia, really, really hard to get used to. In fact, I would even say he's clunkier than using Presea.
It kind of reminded me of playing as King DDD in Super Smash Bros. Brawl.
Yeah.
So slow.
How he charges up the hammer and then
Yeah.
does a huge swing.
Yeah.
And then often misses anyways.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they pretty much got you in a spot where you have to be Yuri because throughout the whole game they're nurturing you as you're Yuri basically, and then you're learning all these new moves and stuff you have to get used to, and then there's not really room to switch, but
Yeah.
so that's that. I've got some specific categories we could go into. One thing I'd like to note though is that I thought this was kind of interesting. Did you know that there's actually in PlayStation on the PlayStation 3 this is an exclusive version to Japan.
Yes, I know this.
And they actually have an exclusive character to that version.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pirate girl. I forget her name, but
Patty.
Well, I know that there's also an anime. I'm not sure how closely it ties into the game itself, but I really, really want to get that on Blu-ray.
Yeah, me too. It's a prequel, actually.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, it's about Yuri and Flynn. It's a prequel.
Ooh.
So.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Yep.
Do you
Definitely.
So Chronolink, do you know a lot of details about this character? Because I'm wondering, I just know there's this character. I'm just wondering how they were able to integrate her into there.
Apparently, I think there's a whole there's actually one point in one of the fights where I noticed every character was surrounding it. I don't remember what particular fight it was during. I think it was I can't really remember specifically, but all the characters were surrounding something. I don't remember what they were surrounding. They were surrounding something, but there was one spot open, and I was like, am I missing? Is there a secret character in this game that I'm missing? Because I noticed this one spot that's really blatant where the characters weren't surrounding. And then I looked it up, and then I was like, oh, so there is a character in the PS3 version of the game that I guess, from what I could tell, is kind of a major character. So she actually has plot points and stuff about her. So, and that kind of reminded me of what Tales of Grace's F did in that Tales of Grace's was originally a Wii exclusive game that was ported to the PS3, in which I think they added in a whole nother act after the end of the game. So it became I think it added a third more to the game. So it was oh my gosh.
Wow.
I don't know how do they do that? How do they just take out a whole character like that? What makes them think that?
I'm honest. I don't know. I think maybe they just added it in after the fact. I don't really know. So.
That's really interesting. And also, I have this random question to ask because remember there was that one part where you had to pick a certain character to wear an outfit to lure away a guard.
Yes.
I was wondering who you guys picked.
Oh. I actually did the scene through for everyone just to see see how it played out.
That's what I was asking because I did Judith because that was the obvious choice, and then
right.
I didn't know if there was a way to fail or anything, but I was interested to see how Carol's would work and how Estelle's would work.
It was ridiculous. I don't know. Well, maybe I didn't actually go and do Carol's. I don't know.
Oh,
I know
man.
I did it. I know I did it with Judith and Estelle. And I think I kept Estelle's because I thought it was funnier. Just because, she says something really stupid, and then Yuri says something I can't remember. That was so long ago now. Thinking back, game time, but yeah, it was very, very amusing.
Yeah, I wanted to see what would happen if Carol did that. What did Estelle's actually work though?
Yeah, she just basically said hello, and the guy sort of gets all creepy, and then she's kind of no, stay away kind of thing.
Wow.
And And then she was like, and then like Yuri hits him, you know, when she lures him away, and she's like, "I'm sorry we had to do that to you." And someone says like, "Well, if we hadn't done that, it would have gotten pretty bad." Something like that.
I'm guessing it would have worked for Carol's too, which is I'm kind of disturbed to think what would happen then.
Yeah, I'd see. That's the thing. I don't know how that like.
I should look that up. I'll probably look that up soon. Look it up on YouTube.
That was a fun little event though.
Did you guys know that you could actually go back there, and then you could
get the costume?
Yeah, get the costumes. You could have.
What? Can I do that now or?
You can.
Okay, good.
The thing is, I just didn't feel like there's a certain material I needed because you need like raw materials to do it, and then I just didn't feel like doing it. It was like at a specific spot at nighttime you had to be there to get it. So I didn't really feel like doing it because I think he was gonna give it to Estelle first, and then I didn't bother. But yeah, that's one of the side quests. But I have actually at first we should go into this. Did you guys really dabble much in the side quests or no?
Not really at all for me.
I have not. I've not really. I think I'm going to start doing that now that I've kind of reached near sort of the end game. I think I kind of want to start doing a little bit of that. Just because that's what I tend to do with. That's what I did with Symphonia a lot. I sort of, wait to the end of the game and kind of spend a lot of time doing bonus stuff.
Good. That's a good idea because it kind of builds it up more too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But one thing I don't like is I usually like with side quests, I like that they actually integrate it into what you're doing. But what Tales of Vesperia does is it makes you go to random spots at random times. And like I looked up on GameFAQs after a while some side quests you can do. And it's really weird that basically at random points throughout the story there are actually different things you can do by going to random towns at like specific times throughout the story, and you can unlock like certain arts and stuff apparently. I think that's really weird because like if you have completionists out there who just want to do it normally, like it's not as fun because you pretty much have to look it up at that point because you can't.
Are there missables? Like are there missable side quests? That's my question.
That's what I think because you can't expect people to just like check every single town after every event.
Yeah.
Like how are you supposed to know?
Yeah.
I do like how sometimes if you hover over a place, it will bring you into there. Later on, there's a point where it does that at certain areas. When you float over it, they're like, oh, you want to go check in on this place? And they have a little side quest. But, yeah, apparently there's certain times where you go there. But, the only ones I bothered with are the Sorcerer's Ring one, which is part of the Fell Arms thing. To get to level 5, you have to do like specific stuff, go to certain air crenes and whatnot, and stuff like that. What level is your Sorcerer's Ring at now? Do you know?
Mine's at level 3. I know that's green.
Yeah, I think I'm in the same boat.
Yeah, level 5, like I was surprised. Like it seems to like reach like really far, and it's like really far and fast. It reaches. It actually makes it a lot more convenient for getting enemies too.
Nice.
But yeah, that was necessary for the Fell Arms, which, like I said, the Fell Arms are easy to find. But yet again, that's one of the side quests you can't do just by looking yourself, really, unless you scoured the whole map. And another minigame I did, which was for a side quest, was a waiting minigame. Did either of you do this?
No, but I saw something you posted on Twitter about it.
Yeah, Zavin said he did the same thing. It's so ridiculous. You go there, and they're like, oh hey, one of our girls is missing. It's one of the bars in Dongrass you have to go to. You can still do it, I think. If you go, it's the one on the left, I think. No. Yeah, it's more to the left, and then you go in there, talk to the person, one of the girls there, and they're like, okay, one of our people isn't here right now, and we wanted to know if you could help us. And then you just pick one of your characters to do it. Yuri apparently is unable to wait for people, so he's not an option. And Repeat can't do it obviously either. So you got everyone else you could do though. So okay, I did Judith first, I think, and then
your busty waitress.
Yeah, and then of course they give her a uniform to put on. She's like, "Oh, it's a little tight at the top, don't you think?" Every chance they get, they gotta make a joke like that.
Well, it's Japanese, man.
that is what Judith is.
I actually wrote down a quote earlier in the game that I was going to end up sharing it on the United Gamedom podcast, but I never did. It was after a battle, and it was just kind of after you had met Judith, and Estelle says...
Oh, I know this.
Yeah, you probably heard it. Estelle says, "They're bouncing." and Judith replies, "What are you looking at?" And Estelle just whispers to herself, "I wish I could bounce."
That's genius. The
so
characterization, oh my.
Yeah.
I wish I could bounce.
But anyway, this waiting minigame. Alright, so you start off and it's really easy, so you go over and he's like, alright, I want one of these, I want one of the Don's specials or something. And then he goes over and you get it. You have to go over to the counter and it has a list of all the stuff and you just choose how many of each and you run over. If you take too long, it's just like any waiting game. You start getting angry with little symbols above their head like "Urgh." And then if you get the wrong order, there's nothing you can do, you just keep going. And then at the end, you get paid accordingly. But alright, so then it goes up in levels, and they're like, oh, you want to start level 2? And then that one's okay, too. You can memorize these ones. And then level 3, you go up to a guy, and he's like, alright, I'd like 6 orders of this crepe, but I'd like 22 of each. And then, and he's like, no, I changed my mind. I want 2 of these, but I want 38 of each meal. He's like, no, I changed my mind. No, I want 4 of these, but 64 of each meal. Oh, and on top of that, can you give me 3 of these and 24 of this one? So over here, I've got this paper that's full of all these words all over the entire paper. I was like, okay, I can memorize this in the first 2 levels, and then level 3, it's impossible. People are ordering these impossible amounts. And then that takes, forever for one guy. And you got a whole room of people going, oh, can I buy something? Yeah. Take my order, please. And they all want just as much, pretty much. And they're always changing their minds in the sentence to try to throw you off. Wow. Mm. But at the end, they give you a costume. That's the only reason I kept doing it. They give you a new costume for each person. So I did Judith, and then I did Estelle. And then I did Raven. Raven's got, he gets this flamboyantly yellow costume. Pretty nice. Nice summer colors. I use that costume now for him. And, but then after that, I was like an hour and a half of my life was wasted on that. And then I'm like, oh, too many orders. And I didn't bother to do it with Carol. I was like, I'm not really that excited for that, so... I can deal with not having it. But, man, was that annoying. But I got a much better costume for him later, which was really nice. Got him, nice gold armor. That was pretty good. And then, the Coliseum. Did either of you do the Coliseum stuff?
Nope.
Not yet.
I want to go back and do that.
Yeah, even where I'm at now, I went to the Coliseum to try out, and they're like, oh, we're not taking it, we're not taking people yet, so, which is unfortunate. It's probably right really close to the end is when they start taking people in, but, no, the one thing I'm really excited about that, though, is that, I know one of the people Tales games always, generally in their Coliseum matches, they always have people from past games that you get to fight against.
Really?
Yes, and I know in this one, Kratos Arion from Tales of Symphonia is one of the people that you fight against.
Oh wow!
I think it's like a team battle somewhere, and there's a bunch of others in there as well. So, really looking forward to that. Actually, and probably getting my head handed to me by them.
I did the first level. There's like multiple levels. Like, I think it starts off like 45, and then it starts off as some smaller number, and then like 45 and 80 and 100. There's like 4 different levels. But it's really I was going through the second session like really easily. Like, they give you pretty much plenty of time if you just spam the buttons enough, and then I got to the end, and like you can only enter one person, and then obviously you just have to enter Yuri, and then so I go through this, and I'm like, alright, I'm doing good, and then all of a sudden it just says defeated, and then I look down, it says, and then it has the little icon that says I'm stoned.
Oh.
I'm like, oh, okay. And then it was just over, done. It kicks me out of there, and then, like, wow, okay, there's definitely something I could have done about that. When you don't have anyone to use items on you, yeah, that's an automatic defeat. But, yeah, you have a certain submission, entry fee, and then it says the prize money, there's a certain amount of prize money for each, and you basically, when you're taking into account how much you're going to make, you just cut that in half, because they make you pay half of that money to enter in the beginning. So, but it doesn't win me anything for the first one aside from the money. But I'm assuming like after the 100-man one that they'll give you something better. But yeah, so that was really annoying. You do fight two of the old characters you usually run into. So. But they just keep tacking on new enemies at the end. It's always the same set, and then they just add in as many as there are more for that. So there's that. And then what other side quests are there? What about the Giganto monsters? Did you fight those?
I fought some of them, but some of them were just too challenging for where I was at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I fight pretty much everyone I run into, but then, yeah, there was, like, one that was, like, way above my levels, and they expected to come back, but I couldn't remember the place, so I never went back, so I didn't really bother that much.
Yeah. It's, yeah. Yeah, I think the first giant sort of thing that you come across, yeah, I couldn't beat it the first time around. I think I went back to it, and I think I was able to beat it. But I've come across a few that I've beaten, but other ones I just have to run from. Some of them are just ridiculous.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's also the side quest later on. Was the only other one I really dabbled in much. And basically you can go see Flint at a certain place, and then he'll give you like a special art after you like do a little training session with him, and then yeah, that was kind of useful, kind of a useful art to have, but you don't get that until later from where you are. But yeah, are there no other side quests you guys did?
No, like I said, I really haven't dabbled in any side quests at this point.
I'm just thinking like what are we considering side quest? I mean, like I wouldn't suppose, I don't suppose, like, by side quests you mean. I've been very, very obsessive with my, trying to learn skills for weapons and synthesizing. I've been, you know, and it always bothers me when I'm like, when I can't synthesize something. It's like, no, I don't have extras of this weapon and I can't buy them in this town, so, but yeah, I've been having, actually, a surprising amount of fun doing that in this game. So
I didn't really dabble in that much. I just like whenever I go to a new Fortunes market or whatever, then I'll just buy everything that I can synthesize and all that from what I have, but I don't bother much after that. One thing I wanted to ask you guys is, do you guys cook anything?
Yes.
No.
Oh, really?
Dude, no. With every game, every single game, Harvest Moon's like, okay, you can cook stuff. I never want to cook stuff. And like, same with Tales of Symphonia, Dawn of the New World, I never cooked anything. I hate cooking in games. Why are they making me cook? I don't know.
That's why they make games like Cooking Mama.
Yeah.
That's right.
Only, aside from the ones they absolutely made me do, I didn't do any of them. I found it was like, I always talk to that Wonder Chef whenever he's having.
Oh yeah, I like that guy.
Yeah, that guy's a lot more. He's a lot he's even stranger in this game than in other ones, if that's possible. So instead of a giant fork like he had in Symphonia, he has a giant frying pan that he carries on his back.
Yeah.
Even though he's not very useful for what I do, I still talk to him every time.
Yeah.
You know, I'm very thorough with like in RPGs. I talk to everyone pretty much every chance I get. Like, I insist on getting like as many dialogue options as possible. I don't like run all the way back to towns talking to people, because I think like the Tales of Vesperia game is like very diverse with this dialogue. Surprisingly, like it seems after every event or like some significant event happens, you can go back and they'll have something new to say about it.
Which is
it's really cool.
Yeah.
But
it's kind of unique, you know. A lot of RPGs are. I even think about Twilight Princess in particular. Like characters didn't say stuff after some like major stuff went down. They had still said the same stock thing. So it's nice to actually see some.
Yeah.
A little bit of variety in there.
Just like Pokemon just kind of repeats the same thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, I like obsessed with like most RPGs now. I'll be like, I'll like stress out when they throw me into a middle of a place of like a huge town. I'm like, oh god, which way do I go first? So like I gotta start from like left to right. Like, okay, let's talk to all the people over here, move over here, and then I'll move to the right and be like, and then I'll start a cutscene. I'll be like, ah, darn, I ran into a cutscene. I always try to leave like the cutscenes till the last thing I do.
Yeah.
Another thing that annoys me in RPGs is that when I'm exploring like dungeons and like that one cave area, and there's like branching paths, like, all right, then I'll have to decide like which one looks like it's where you progress the story, and which one looks like it's where you get the additional stuff.
Yeah, I run into that so often.
And then I'll go like, oh, this one looks right, and then it runs me into a cutscene and throws me out of the place. I'm like, god darn it. Now I'm gonna have to run back there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have problems with that. But, so what do you cook? How often do you cook, Chrono?
I try to cook after, oftentimes I look at, how I'm doing after battle. And it's a good kind of way to conserve items a little bit, especially depending on what, if you have better recipes and such. Like, I have one right now that, that will heal 30% of my health for everybody. So that's pretty good, after just a post-battle thing. I also have another one hot linked to, for 10% TP at the end of battle, or maybe it's 15. And then I also have one to increase, I think I have one to increase magic attack greatly, and another one to increase, for the next battle, and then another to increase, physical attack, in the next battle, so.
Yeah, that stuff is definitely useful, like, you always see the effects, and you can tell that would help a lot, but I just can never be bothered with all the different combinations and stuff. That's the same with, like, fighting games, how I can never be bothered to learn all these elaborate combos and everything.
Yeah.
That's why I'm always, like I get a bunch of fighting games, but I don't play them all that much. And it's impossible to be competitive on there. And, yeah, so I'll just be hitting, like, the same buttons. And
Just mash the buttons. Yeah. Press them all at the same time, repeatedly.
So we covered all like the side stuff, but now we can actually go into kind of the main components of like how people review games. So like start with like the small stuff. Like, what do you guys think of the graphics in this game?
I honestly don't think they could be any better. I mean, it's just basically all you could ask for a Tales of game, and really just a JRPG in general. Like, as I've said in my videos, it's like an interactive anime, basically.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Yeah, the game has kind of this nice. It has it's cel shaded, but it kind of has this like almost a watercolor feeling at certain points.
Yeah,
I know certain vistas that you see. Like there's one really early on that you're in this one sort of little. I think it's like some hill or something, Mead Hill or something like that. I don't remember. But you kind of are walking across, and then you come across this vista that's just over the central like sea area. And it's just like gorgeous to look at. It's just jaw dropping actually. And for a game that came out in 2008, to still do that is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
I think some people would probably be like, oh, this game, I don't like the graphics, they're cartoony or whatever. But I think, I love them. I think they're really, really nice.
Yeah.
And it fits the style. It just looks like an anime that's, you can interact with. So it's really great.
Yeah. Cell shading is definitely my favorite graphic style, I think, out of everything. And, yeah, just like, it's very clever to use cell shading too, because it's hard to do cell shading wrong, because it's not that difficult to do, and it's also, it's easy to make it pleasing to the eye too.
Right.
Like if you do realistic graphics like Heavy Rain or Uncharted, then you're stuck where you have to live up to some standard.
Yeah.
But cell shading, it can go its own style whenever it wants, and I find with these games, like the colorful places like look especially good. Like the dark places don't really stand out for me, but like when it's colorful, like lush green places, then it always looks really nice. And with water, yeah.
Yeah, the colors really pop.
Mhm.
Quite a bit.
And kind of going with that, what about the music?
I'm going to go ahead and say that the music actually in this game isn't what really drives the game. It didn't really impress me that much like a Final Fantasy game or, I don't know. There are definitely some memorable tunes like in Dawngress,
yeah.
I love the tune.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's so great.
Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, it's pretty great.
Yeah, I love that. And then at the harbor level, it's like Kappa Noir or Nor or whatever it is
Harbor?
there. Yeah,
Nor
Harbor, I think. It's very pleasant, like tropical tune. I just love it. It's very catchy.
Yeah.
But other than that, I don't know. I just didn't feel like the music was really catchy.
Yeah. And the combat music at certain times gets like really good. And at certain points in the story, it actually like changes the combat music.
Yes.
Which is, I thought that was weird, kind of. Like, it's like all of a sudden different. But, I think it gets better as it goes on.
Yeah.
But, another track, I forget what it was specifically, but it's kind of like whenever there's some sort of uplifting, like, moment happening, it plays this song. I can't remember it, but...
It's like a harp, kind of... I think I know the one you're talking about, because it's the one I like. It kind of has this harp going,
yeah,
and there's like flutes in there too.
It's really nice, yeah.
It's nice. It's a nice sort of peaceful tune. I really like that a lot. Honestly, I was, I had mentioned this earlier in the Gents Challenge topic, and I was thinking, there really isn't that many standout tracks to me in this game. I wasn't really caring. I like the music. I love the composer Motoi Sakuraba. I love his work with pretty much every game he's made. Golden Sun, excellent music in those games. Tales of Symphonia, all the Tales games he's worked on. And I was thinking that, and I remembered that I had the same sort of feelings about Tales of the Abyss when I was playing through that. Is that I really just didn't really care for the music all that much in that game. And then when I got sort of near to the end of the game, kind of like where I am now in Vesperia, I I actually kind of came around and was like, you know what, the music in this game is actually really, really good. And I've had the same sort of turnabout with this game as well. It's particularly going back to older locations. Like I went back to that, I can't remember, that town with the tree in it. The huge tree. That's one of the first towns you go to. And I was just sitting there and enjoying the graphical style.
Yeah,
there.
definitely.
And the music was, I was like, you know what, the music here is actually really, really good. And there was another area I went to recently also where I thought the same thing. I can't remember off the top. I mean, Dawngrest is always a standout, honestly.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just, I've begun enjoying. I enjoy the music a lot more now than I did, particularly at the beginning of the game. Though this always has to be said. As much as I love Uematsu's battle music, as much as I love countless other people who compose music for JRPGs, Yoko Shimomura's battle music is really good too. Motoi Sakuraba is a master of battle music. He knows how to get he always picks like a really upbeat tempo. Throws in guitars there to get it rocking, And man, it's really good. I really like the battle music in this game. There's like you said, I think the battle music just gets better. It's sort of as each act happens. The encounter music just gets even better. And actually, the major boss fight that I just sort of finished and Act 3 began, that music in that fight was awesome. I was just like, because the normal battle music, the normal like major battle music was playing, boss music, and then it sort of switched over to that, and I was just like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. So yeah, I've really been enjoying it, and the opening song, oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, I love that.
I'm in love with the opening song so much.
I think what I'd like to do. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say I actually went and found it online today and downloaded it. So
nice.
Yeah.
What I'd love to do. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I was saying, what were you saying now?
Oh, I was gonna say that what I love doing, especially for RPGs, is getting some of the soundtracks for these games and kind of just going through and listening to the soundtrack after you'd already beaten the game, so you can kind of like relive and kind of re-experience those moments you can kind of picture in your head when you were playing those moments in the game. And I think for Vesperia, that's what I want to do, because it's not a game where the soundtrack stands out to me particularly, like Final Fantasy 13 or something. But I feel like if I went back and listened to the soundtrack, it would kind of really start to grow on me, and it'd probably make me want to go back and play the game again, to be honest.
Definitely. There is one track, and I think this is might be one of the reasons why I didn't like the soundtrack right away. And there was a track that must have played at least like 30 times within the first few hours of the game, and it was pissing me off. Yeah. And it was one that was like dun dun da 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 dun 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 da 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 dun 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 da da da. And I was just like, please make it stop! It's burning my ears. It's just like, because it was kind of like a more jovial, like, these characters are derpy kind of thing.
Yeah, that's what they always have that track.
But it's like, but it wasn't, sometimes it just didn't even fit. Like, it was like, they're running away from something. This shouldn't be playing.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. Fortunately, that hasn't played in a very long time, fortunately. The plot's getting a lot more serious.
Imagine, like, the final boss is all built up, like, epic, and then it just, while you're fighting, it just starts.
Like carnival music, for crying out loud.
Alright, so for the most part, it's been all rainbows and puppy farts until now.
That's right.
And then this is where it starts to get dicey and we can be a little more critical. And I want to know what your thoughts are on the combat for the game.
It's just a little bit too repetitive for me.
Yeah.
I mean, I just feel like I've watched a lot of footage from Grace's F, and it just seems like the battle system and everything just is much more intense. There's a lot more. I don't know if they make use of the arts and just combos more, but I just feel like you're kind of limited in the scope of your combos in Vesperia unless you're an overlimit or something. But I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, what I like seems to combat to me is like so much button mashing the whole time.
Yeah, yeah.
And the only times where you ever need to use any sort of strategy are the boss battles.
Yep.
Like you'll then, especially with the final boss battle where I had to monitor everyone, make sure they're doing everything right. But even that's not necessarily a good thing where you have to make sure people are doing their jobs right. But that's the only time where it actually gets interesting, I guess.
Oh, so for me, I find this this is the latest Tales game that I've ever played. So I find it is a very welcome and actually great iteration in sort of the evolution of how their battle systems sort of work. Mm-hmm. I've really enjoyed it, actually, surprisingly enough. I mean, I think it goes with the Tales. You know, it is pretty repetitive combat. I will admit that. You know, it's very basic. You just kind of mash buttons the whole time. It is mashy. Mashy. It's mashy. But anyways, but I don't know. I really like the differences that have come. Like those are probably why I like it so much, because you know I've played through Tales of Symphonia probably 3-4 times. I played through Dawn of the New World a couple of times, Abyss once, and Abyss and Dawn of the New World have almost the same battle system. I think there's like one difference. I think they're almost exactly the same. You know, those that introduced free running, which was this game would. Man, I'm so glad they introduced free running, because that would be awful these days to just be forced in a straight line the whole time. But yeah, I really like the uses of the crap. What are the chains? So like you know, each art that you use has a different sort of colored chain. So there's, you know, blue ones which are sort of knock the enemy upwards, the green ones that knock them backwards, and red ones that knock them down on the ground. And I just like the sort of, you know, interplay between trying to force enemies to do that, because lesser enemies can actually be KO'd immediately once you know, hit them, once they're hit by one of those chain attacks. I think they're like, I wish I could remember what their specific name is, but yeah, I really enjoy that quite a bit. It's, you know, it's not the most complex battle system, but I do like the way they do. You know, over limits aren't impossible to achieve anymore. In Tales of Symphonia, over limits were ridiculous, to say the least. Most of them were like, or mystic arts, I guess you could even say. Not over limit. Over limit was easy to achieve in Symphonia, but mystic arts were almost impossible to do, because you had to like use a tech, and I think only 2 or 3 characters had them. It was like use a tech 300 times with a lightning elemental thing equipped, which is stupid. You have to do like, you know, over 100 battles or something with that. You know, it's just dumb. But in this one, it's I haven't actually used a mystic art yet, simply because I haven't got the limit trio until like literally like that was the last thing I did before I stopped playing last night.
But
so
you know something?
What's that?
I bought Limit Trio like a long time ago, and I've never used the Mystic Art in the game ever.
Honestly, the only reason I want to do it is because I think they look awesome and are badass. But I mean, you know, they'll knock a big chunk of damage down on a boss, so, you know.
Yeah, I just never like bothered to even find out how to do it.
Or whatever. It's a skill that you equip, actually. Different weapons have that skill. So you learn the skill and then you just equip it. And I think it has something to do with holding down A, I think. So yeah, I mean, I think just that idea, you know, the chains, combo chain, or I don't even remember. Damn it, I wish I could remember what those called. Let me look at the manual. Now I can figure out what they're called. Battle actions. Attacking. Fatal Strikes, that's what they're called. Yes, those are awesome. I like that addition. Yes, Fatal Strikes, that's what they are.
Yeah.
Woo! I remembered it. Yes. So, and by remembered, I mean actually
Yeah,
looked up this manual and looked inside. Yeah, so I like that. But again, I mean, you might not necessarily have to take. You maybe shouldn't take my word for it. You know, definitely know what you're getting into. For people listening who haven't played a Tales game before, know what you're getting into. You know, it is pretty repetitive. So, I've just always kind of enjoyed it. Like, it's not like necessarily a great battle system, but it's certainly one that's active, I guess you could say. So, at the very least. So.
Yeah, I wasn't as into grinding as I might be, because I just got tired of doing the same exact thing.
Yeah.
Or like, it was like the same exact, alright, just press the same exact button combo in every enemy, and then just wait for it to be over. But, yeah, I got tired of it. That's why I went into the final boss. Even though Darrow said to be like level 70, I was like level 64 the first time. And then, but then eventually, since I failed so hard, I went up in level. It didn't help like that much, but I was able to beat it finally. But yeah, luckily they didn't really require grinding that much throughout the game.
No,
from what I've seen. Yeah.
There was only one part really early on. There was like one boss fight that was just ridiculously hard. Really early on.
Oh yeah, I do.
It was some like beast. I don't remember what it was.
Yeah.
Specifically.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
And but yeah, there you go. But Rusty, you actually did a lot of grinding, didn't you?
Yeah, I did earlier in the game, and it's kind of paid off. Like, I haven't even gotten to... I'm just going to go ahead and say his name. Maybe I shouldn't. I won't. Okay, I won't. But I've just gotten to the boss that you beat that kind of sends you off into the third act of the game, and all my characters are at level 60 right now. I'm not really sure if that's ahead of the game or not.
Well...
Yeah, it is a bit. I'm around level 54 with everyone, 54, 55.
Okay, so yeah, I've done my fair share of grinding then. I mean, a lot of times, like, when I come home from work, I don't really feel like progressing in the story just because I don't feel like paying attention. So what I'll do is I'll literally just put on a podcast for 2 hours and just run around and grind. And then on the weekends, that's when I kind of really turn off everything and really kind of pay attention to the story and kind of make my progression in the game. So since, 5 days out of the week I'm at work, and I don't feel like doing anything when I come home, I basically just spend like 2 hours a night grinding. So that's kind of how my characters are kind of so high-leveled, if you will, right now. So I guess that'll make the game, kind of the near end of the game here, go pretty smoothly, which will be nice. But so yeah.
Also, a random note. Oh.
That was my roommate.
Yeah, that's what I thought. But a random note. In the final boss is such a dick that he has a mystic art that's called Brave Vesperia.
Oh my gosh, that's mean.
He's like, Brave Vesperia, and he brings everyone down to 1 HP. And he's all happy about himself. I don't know if you'll be able to experience that much if you don't reach the third form or not. I think you might use it like once or twice otherwise, but... Because he has a couple mystic arts he uses, but...
That's crazy.
Anyway, the last main thing I think we got here is the characterization. Now, first of all, who's your favorite character? Let's ask that.
Well, I mean, for me, it's hard to pick, honestly, because I think Yuri is honestly one of the best Tales protagonists ever.
Yeah.
He is perfect. He is the perfect character. He really is. I mean, he's not like the typical. I don't think he's really like fits into like any typical JRPG stereotypes. He's kind of easygoing. Can be pretty sarcastic. He's he's not exactly quick to anger, but when something happens, he gets pissed, and he's not afraid to, he's not wimpy or afraid to show it or anything. Yeah, I mean, I just love him, and also he kind of helps that he's played by Troy Baker, who's one of my favorite voice actors. So that certainly helps a lot too. Other than Yuri, I'd have to say Raven, though.
Yeah, he's a cool guy.
Just, I think my favorite, some of my favorite stuff some of just favorite lines are, pretty repetitive, but, like, upon leveling up, I love it when he said, "Hooray for the old man," as well as was one, pretty much every after battle thing, like, line that he has is awesome. So there's the one where Estelle likes, slapping people's hands. As the sign of victory.
Yeah, that's a one.
And so for him, he's like, "Yay! How about a hug?" I don't think so. Or the one with Judas, where he's like, says something, "That was hot, baby," and she's like, "You'll just get burned." Like, "Baby, I'm already burned to a crisp." Yeah, he's great. I love him. So.
Yeah, Raven's definitely up there. Yuri, obviously. Yeah, those are like the main two favorites, it seems. But
I think the cast is one of the personally, I do think the cast is one of the strongest they've had. Maybe not in as far as changing goes, like, a dynamic or static characters, as far as that goes. But as far as just like, how likable all of them are. I honestly find Carol actually to be the most likable kind of kid character that I've played in a Tales game. I like Genus. Genus is okay. He's kind of a cool guy. That being said, he can be kind of annoying. And Annis doesn't really get, from Tales of the Abyss, doesn't really get to be a good character until like 45 hours in. Like, I didn't like her until like her past was finally kind of explored, and then I only sort of marginally liked her. But I've just liked Carol since the beginning. Like, he's... Mm-hmm. I don't know how... Like, I haven't looked in, like, what people's sort of ideas about him. I'm assuming he kind of gets some hate, especially when he goes into battle with such lines as, "Our ties to each other will save us," which I think is the most melodramatic line I've ever heard in a JRPG. Like, it's... Please, like, I'm expecting corny lines in this, but like that just takes the cake right there. Yeah, and I don't know. Also, am I the only one that thought for? I mean, I think I see it a lot less now, but like, I don't go into games looking for this. I know some people do because they like fanfics or whatever. But was I the only one that thought Rita was a lesbian?
It actually never crossed my mind, nor did I think about it until you just said that.
It didn't for me either. No.
I mean, it was just the reactions she had were like, to some things Estelle were doing were just like really like over, like most friends I know wouldn't do that kind of like getting that flustered about thing. Like, I don't know. I thought it was really weird. Huh. But that was a while ago, and I don't see that much anymore. But the one I really don't get personally is people who see that with Fang and Vanille from Final Fantasy 13, and that one just pisses me off. So, but we won't get it. Yeah, we won't get into that. But I actually thought that for a while in this game.
How about, like, the development of character itself, like, the whole process? I think that Tales of Vesperia overall, like, a lot of... Like, we were having that conversation, you brought up some good points on the Gentleman's Challenge thread, where it seems like many of them aren't really developing much in character, aside from Carol especially has been, like, focused on as developing a lot, but... And, yeah, and Estelle definitely too. She's like, her character annoys me a lot, especially in the first half of the game, where she's like, basically the whole plot of the game, in the first half of the game, she was like, alright, Yuri's like, alright, do you want to come with us? And she's like, I'm not sure, I think I'm going to go back to the castle.
Yeah.
And then she's like, no, I'm coming with you. You know, I've stuck with this, and I'm going to do it. And then the next scene is like, but are you sure you want to come with us? This is dangerous. And she's like, I don't know. I think I'm going to return to the castle. And then last second, she's like, Yuri! Like, oh, Estelle, there you are. Didn't expect that one.
I didn't see that coming.
And then she was like gone for an extended period of time. It's like, oh, is she actually gonna stay there? She's like, and then they found some excuse to bring her back in there. She was like, oh, Rita's got to do this project, and I guess I'll tag along. I guess. Oh, while you're at it, we might as well all go together. Oh, nice.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, that annoyed me, but I think Tales of Vesperia does it really well with like the skits and everything, and the Tales games in general. They're like kind of a unique way to do it. Like, I said that's like a perfect way to do it, to maintain like, so they don't have to do super long cutscenes. They can just spread skits out along, and if you're interested, you can just check them out. And like, that maintains like an equilibrium between like the combat and the exploring and even the story all together. And they work cohesively. Even the end of the combat things are kind of some character development with those ending lines.
Yeah.
Obviously, by a certain point, you just get repeats, but yeah, I think it works well. What about you guys? What do you think?
In terms of just like
how the characters develop? Do they?
Well, I thought Yuri especially, you know, because you come into contact with kind of the different characters throughout the game, and I feel like in the beginning of the game he kind of has this, I don't even know how to describe it, but I feel like as the game progresses, you know, he kind of takes on this role with Estelle where he kind of flirts with her. I think they kind of have this kind of almost hidden romantic relationship where they kind of like each other. But then, you know, when he meets Carol, he has almost like this father figure, older brother type of relation with him, and just always encouraging him, and, you know, encourages him to kind of start this guild. And, you know, when Carol gets discouraged, he kind of, you know, comes to him, and, you know, as an older brother or father would, he just kind of says, you know, keep your head up, you know, you got this. And, you know, in those instances where there was kind of some evil people, he wasn't afraid to literally kill them and kind of not tell anyone about it.
Yeah.
So he kind of has this this deceitful kind of almost evil side to him. But, you know, I mean, all in all, I just think he's such a well-developed and I don't know, he really, like you said earlier, Alec, he doesn't really have a distinct stereotypical kind of RPG.
Yeah.
You know, I don't even know. I mean, he's so many different characters in one, and I just think that's really awesome.
Yeah, I like, because I had that title equipped on Forever Vigilante, because like that, the scenes where he's doing that are just like, those are like some of my favorite scenes, just because it's like, my God, like I had never seen anything really like that in a JRPG before, and you know, someone doing that pretty coldly too, you know. And one thing to me that sort of bothered me is that some little things like that haven't like come back or haven't like returned, kind of, I guess you could say.
They haven't been brought up, you mean?
Yeah, like they haven't. Yeah. Like, I guess it's sort of, that one's plotline's a little bit over because everybody in the party knows about it now, and has sort of come to terms with it. And but I don't know if he's really come to terms with it himself. That's the thing. Like, I'm not sure how well that he has himself. Like, would he do that again, kind of thing? And but at the same time, like, I think it's really conflicting to me because I really think the characters are really well developed in some instances. But in other ways, I don't think there are like ways that the plot has gone that I didn't expect, maybe, or that I didn't think developed the right way per se, such as like the one scene where you reunite again with Estelle. It's just kind of like, hey, hey.
Yeah.
And then it cuts to a cutscene with Yuri and Flynn talking. And I'm like, what happened? Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And it's just like, they didn't explain, like, like, anything. Like, I know, I mentioned this in the topic. I was like, Final Fantasy IV, like, relished on, like, they loved, like, interaction like that between characters. Like, after, like, huge reunions or emotional things, like, was reminded of, like, Rosa and Cecil, like, the big reunion that happens in there. And, like, that's, like, a nice, lengthy, satisfying scene. I was not satisfied there. Though I was actually, after the second act sort of completes, I was satisfied with the scene that had happened after that. So that was more welcome development. But I don't know. I mean, I know I was writing that in the topic, in that topic in the Gentleman's Challenge, and as I was actually writing it, I was like, I was really conflicted with myself, and then I was like, but I was thinking at all the same time. It's like, man, I just can't wait to get back like tomorrow and play it again.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, but why am I thinking that? Aren't I saying here that I'm like not really like anticipating the story? But I totally am though. Yeah. So, I don't know. I think there are some subplots that I think just didn't have the payoff that I was expecting, but maybe they will eventually. I don't know. So.
One last random thing for characters that I wanted to mention. I wanted to know if you guys thought the same thing. It's from the beginning. I was surprised that, because I was expecting the entire time. I looked at the cover.
Flynn to be the main character.
Yeah, I expected him to be a permanent party member or something.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah.
Like, they build it up so much, like, that stupid thing in the beginning where they kept chasing him and he was never there.
Yeah.
That generic, like...
Right, yeah, it's
never
like,
there.
He's not here. Oh, okay.
But then I expected, like, when you finally found him, like, especially in that alleyway when you first encountered him, and then...
Yeah.
Like, he'd be like, oh, and then something would happen, he'd have to join up with you.
Right.
And you'd be stuck together, but there was only one point in the game where you have to be with him, and that's for like a second, and then it's done. But yeah, I was surprised that was never a thing.
Yeah, I'm pretty surprised too, because, well, I mean, most of the Tales games that I'm thinking of have 8 party members. You only have 7 party members, so it's like, I think that goes back to what we were talking about, that Patty character.
Yeah.
It's using the PS3 version only, which came out, I think, it came out sometime after the 360 version, I think, but...
Really?
Yeah, and it was Japan only, because,
that's weird.
Well, the 360 doesn't really sell in Japan.
Yeah.
And so they're like, we need more money from this, so let's port it. Spaceballs 2, The Quest for More Money. But but yeah, so I honestly thought like that I had this idea that because sort of this sort of resistance that Yuri kind of showed towards Flynn and his way of doing things, that there would be some tension, and that there would be kind of like, they'd have to resolve some of their differences, and that Flynn would eventually come in your party. That hasn't happened, because both of them still have different sort of ideals, which is interesting, because even at this point where they still agree on all kinds of things, they still have this, they have different ways of doing things, and I think that's really a really interesting sort of dynamic that I really enjoy about the story and about the way the characters interact, and I think what would make the movie really, really great, which I'm really looking forward to watching eventually. Yeah,
thinking of it now, I actually think that if he was a party member, Flynn, and like was with them for most of the journey, that actually would have provided a lot for like the skits. I think their relationships would have worked really well for those. They'd constantly be like butting heads, probably.
Yeah.
And having to like settle these differences. So yeah, I'm surprised they didn't do something like that. But at the same time, I think it was the correct thing to do, because if you think about the position Flynn's in, that's not something most people would just abandon to go out on a journey, Right. Especially later on, as time goes by, he becomes especially more needed,
Yeah.
So it wouldn't make sense for him to be like, alright, I'll just join you guys because this is an RPG and we need more characters.
Yeah.
So in that way, that was pretty smart of them. Because most people logically would have thrown him in there, but... Yeah, anything else to add? Anything about the storyline overall that you thought was interesting? Like, do you like the storyline overall? The whole concept of it?
Personally, I do. I do quite a bit. I mean, some of the things I've looked up kind of in more detail just to kind of get some more backstory. As far as like the Blastia and the air and all these different kind of technical jargon that's in the game. But as far as the overall story, I enjoy it quite a bit. Yeah.
Yeah, I think. I mean, one of the things I thought was great, is I feel that the game has done what I say is the game has done what most Tales game or what all Tales games do, is that the game feels differently now than it did at the beginning. Like the story has taken is taken a different tone, kind of.
Yeah.
You're in a very different place than where you started out. It almost feels like a completely different game, which I really love about the stories of these.
You would have thought you'd be chasing Flynn for the whole game.
Yeah,
beginning.
Yeah, much. It's just like, and then finally he's like the final boss. That's
oh, Flynn, we found you. Hey, turns out I'm actually evil.
Dang it! Let's fight.
Darn! We chased you for nothing.
Yeah. So, yeah, I've really, for a while, there was one part in the story where I was just getting really, like, confused just because, okay, what are we doing? What's our main motivation here now? Because there was one part in the game where it was like, okay, we need to do this, but we need to do this first. But then let's do this one thing, because it came around. But okay, we have to remember our main goal is this. Okay, so we're going to do this thing now. Wait, so what are we doing? I don't understand. And it was just made more and more confusing by the fact that Estelle couldn't make up her mind. Which, honestly, I think that was purposeful. And actually, now that where I am now, I kind of appreciate that, honestly. As frustrating and as annoying as I look back on that and think it was, I understand why they did that, I think. As much as it pissed me off.
Yeah. I kind of think it would have been more interesting if they split up the party more often, because it seems like throughout the whole game they were like, okay, we've got 3 different objectives here, so we'll split up. But then, like, a second later, they'll find an excuse where they all just end up going with each other anyway. And they're like, oh, we'll just do that later. Yeah. Because I'd rather be with you guys, so.
That's right.
More diversity would have been nice, but whenever someone leaves, they're back in like an hour at the most, so.
Right. But
so is that all?
But I mean, I was still continuing a little bit, but it's
sorry.
Just no. I mean, I'm just, but yeah, I mean, I think for a little while it took me a little bit to get used to the sort of the technical terminology, but
yeah,
I get it eventually, and now that I kind of understand it a little bit more, I mean, I'm a person that just loves that kind of thing, honestly. Like, I just don't think it was necessarily explained the best way they could have, as quickly as they could have, anyways. But
we spell air with an E.
That's right.
Ooh.
It's the air.
This is a different world. Ooh. Air crene. We pronounce things all fancy.
Right.
So is that all?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's
it. We covered that pretty good there.
We did.
I'm satisfied with that now. I wish you guys would have finished it though, so we could have talked about.
The
last well, I guess it's more like a quarter, but it's Act 3 of the game, I guess you could say.
there's a couple things I wasn't sure to mention or not, so... Yeah, so that's a wrap, guys, because we're just going to skip Nintendo talk, because it's getting pretty late in the day.
Wow.
But,
it's 11:30 here, yeah.
Cole, I wish he could have been here, but,
Where's Cole this evening, out of curiosity?
I don't know, he just said he wouldn't be here this weekend, so...
Oh, okay then.
Partying hard. But, yeah, I want to thank you, Alec, for being Cole's very temporary replacement.
Very temporary. We're kicking you off.
Yes.
Get lost. No, it was fun. I really like talking to you guys, and I know Rusty, I haven't talked to you a whole lot, but it's been fun, man.
Yeah, definitely. I enjoyed joining you guys tonight, and I always, of course, enjoy talking on the Pete's Game Room forum. I got a lot more active on there in the past 6 months or so it's been nice.
Glad to see that. And then thank you, Rusty, for joining us. It's been a long time coming, and we finally
Yep.
It kind of worked out perfectly that all three of us had all the times just aligned, the stars were all perfectly aligned in the sky, and then we had 3 games that were all the same.
Yep.
We were all in Brave Vesperia together.
That's right.
We are Brave Vesperian.
That's right.
So, how about those contacts? Alec, where can people find you?
You can find me at Pete's Game Room Forum. I'm cronolink9 on there. You can also find me on YouTube. I was going to do a top games of 2012 list. I had actually recorded one.
Yeah, I saw that.
That was before I had played. That was before I played Walking Dead, and So I'm probably gonna have to re-record that, even though it's February now, and I still haven't done it. Best games of 2012. What is this nonsense? I'm also going to be doing an unboxing for something a little bit special, and you can tune in to see what that is pretty soon. So that'll be pretty fun. And yeah, so you can find me there. It's youtube.com/user/cronolink9. And I'm also on. You can find me on Xbox Live, cronolink91. I only have like a couple weeks left out of my Xbox Live. $1 for 1 month or whatever I did. So, and I also don't have a headset, so it's not really that.
Wow.
But you can find me there, I guess, if you just like want to compare what games.
Yeah, compare games.
So.
How about you, Rusty? Where can people find you?
You can find me at Pete's Game Room Forum, relewis2011, YouTube, relewis2011, and Twitter, relewis2011.
Man, people are going to get confused with all those different names.
I know, right?
But, yeah, you can find me on Twitter at ZRPG. You can find me on YouTube, ZRPG Revamped, where I've been putting out some videos pretty regularly. I was supposed to put another episode of the Weekly Inquiry out today, but I didn't.
I need to start responding to that immediately.
Yeah, I haven't responded to the latest one. I even watched the video like moments after you posted it, and then I didn't respond for some reason.
Well, yeah, in case you guys didn't know, that's the Weekly Inquiry is like a community-focused series I got going now, where I ask everyone else questions, and you leave responses, and I'll read them out the next episode, and just keep the questions going. The most I've gotten now is like 7, so whoop-de-doo. But I think I've only gotten 2 responses on the newest one, so that's why I also didn't really feel like making one that much, just in case some other people wanted to respond. But yeah. So you can check that out, and you can also find me on Backloggery at Pokemon ZRPG, and on Pete's Game Room Forum at Pokemon ZRPG always. On Miiverse, you can find me in ZRPGHD.
Whoa. Crazy.
And you can also find the podcast on Twitter at HeyListenPod. You can find us on iTunes. It's the one. There's like so many Hey Listen video game podcasts out there. It's the one with the looks just like the one on our Twitter. And Yeah, the fancy one. And yeah, that's and you can find us on the links always on that thread. You know what? I tried to get our own section of the forum, but you know, Pete Dorr, he doesn't like to respond to things that I send him. So.
Did you send it to him on Pete's Game Room, or did you do it on Facebook?
I sent it to him on both.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, it can be really hard to get in contact with him sometimes, just because I'm sure he gets PMs all the time on Facebook. So yeah, sorry about that.
I sent it to him like over a month ago. One of the messages, you know, no response. Whatever. That's why I have a little archive going on the first post of the of my thread, in case you didn't know.
I did know.
Oh, okay.
I visit the top. I do visit the topic. I'm not.
Oh yeah. You just look at them and you're like, oh man, I could be listening to the episodes, but I'd rather not.
You make me sound like I guess it is kind of. I am kind of a jerk. I'm sorry.
But and Cole, you can find Cole on Twitter at ColeAnnoyingNav, because you can't fit Annoying Navi. You can't find him on Pete's Game Room Forum because he's like never on there, not even on our own thread. So that's that. And yeah, that's basically all you can find him at. That's like usually like the only thing he mentions really. But
it's like a ninja.
Yeah, thanks for everyone listening today. I hope you enjoyed it even without Cole, because he's kind of an essential part of this. He does the prank calls, which brings a certain flavor to it, but I'm sure they'll be returning next week. It all depends. So.
Very cool.
Hold on here.
I think you need to lead this episode in with Ring a Bell, though. Honestly, you need to do it.
I need to? Wow.
Yeah.
Seems like a lot of work.
Okay, sorry. I know that might be a little too much. You can hear this track and more on the Gentleman's Music Challenge.
Yes, you can. Yeah, so we got that song, I got Our Solemn Hour, I got My Celine, and Tough as John Jacobs. Because Darrow did pretty well this time. 2 of those 3 were 2 of the ones he posted. There you go.
Yeah, those are my favorite too, actually, on the whole playlist. So
nice. I kind of suggest the idea that people should like post their top 3 favorites from the playlist each week now.
Yeah,
I think that'd be kind of cool to see. But
Get involved.
Yeah, Rusty.
That's right. I need to. I need to widen my horizons in music listening.
Yeah, you're getting rusty at this whole music listening thing.
Oh, pulling a Gamester 81 on me.
Alright, guys. See you later.
Alright.
Later, guys.